I had sleeveless earlier. I was like, damn, this shirt's too wrinkled. I need to clean it up.
Damon, are you familiar with
top color like you though?
Normani featuring Normani, excuse me. Normani featuring Cardi B.
Nah, I haven't heard
it. It's a smash. They took the 1 in a Million beat. And I only say that because they did it justice for guys like us, because it reminds me of a real late 90s song. Like, it's, you know how songs today are kind of all over the place. They don't, and maybe this is the gift and the curse, but they don't fit a structure.
Is that the one that song just dropped, didn't it?
Yeah,
like a week or two ago.
About a month ago. Yeah. But it's a smash. Like, I love the song, and it just fits. It sounds like the late 90s, like the way the song is formatted. A verse. Cardi comes in with her rap that is a specific amount of bars, and she says it a specific way. Then they go to, I love the song.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Ramsey, I saw that, big dog. I gotta I gotta get at you. This week is so hectic for me. It may not happen this week, but I'm gonna get at you for sure next week. Roddy, sending that invite. I got you. No. Stop. I'm sending. First of all, let me show. Where's it?
Oh, blackballed. Roddy's the Kaepernick.
Where is it?
Y'all doing Roddy like Cap. Come on, man. Let the man pick him.
I got Roddy's email. He put it in here the other day when I was like writing them down. I got him. I wrote it down. Sent it to him. I don't know what happened. I don't know what he's talking about, but he said he didn't get it. So I'm about to shoot that for you.
You got the burner email. Yeah, this will be the last day to do that.
Thank you. Oh, already.
Loved ones, what's good? Welcome in here to the Wednesday, September 8th, the football eve. Christmas football.
You gotta love it.
Football eve, season opener eve. What was the proper term for today?
I would say it's Christmas football eve.
Yeah, they all kind of work.
Football eve.
Football.
Football eve.
Too short.
Let's go with that.
Football eve, like Christmas. All right. Football eve it is.
Football eve. Yeah.
Welcome into the show. I'm Damien Barling. He's Kenny Caraway.
Yes, sir.
Collectively, we are dealing with KC. James Ham will be with us for his weekly visit coming up at 3:20. Plenty to talk about until then. If you want to be a part of the show, many ways that you could do it. Twitch.tv/ESPN1320, YouTube.com/ESPN1320, the Odyssey app, and of course 1320 AM here in Northern California.
So now you got me thinking, as we say, football eve, all this other stuff. This tomorrow, I know technically, literally, but does tomorrow really feel like the season started? Season doesn't feel like it starts till Sunday.
That's cap. Starts tomorrow.
Nah. Yeah, literally. But it's like, okay, we got a game.
Yeah.
And then what? We don't play for another 3-4 guys.
It's
3-4 days.
Tomorrow's the start of week 1. And then we get the luxury of talking about the Cowboys and the Bucks the night before and overreacting to what we saw, and then previewing the 49ers and the Lions. We'll get to touch on the other slate of games that are going on out there. So it's like, it's perfect. Like it's perfect. Look, it gives us a little bit of the recap and a little bit of the preview.
Sunday is when it's like, yo, football's here.
The season starts tomorrow. The season starts Sunday.
So for instance, there was a game, a college football game on last Wednesday. Matter of fact, there was a college football the Saturday before this past one, right? Yeah. But it felt like Saturday. Hell, I'll even give you Thursday. Football started. That's what tomorrow is. Tomorrow is week 0. All right. They count, but it's week 0. Sunday, football's here. Let's go.
Okay, we're not going to spend the next 4 hours arguing over semantics here. Football starts tomorrow. And then football starts on Sunday. But we either way, hey, maybe Kenny's not. I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm excited for the Bucs and the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to talk about everything that comes with every team being 0-0, every team being a Super Bowl contender, except the Texans, every team having an opportunity to truly go out there and this is the year. There are 31 fan bases across the league that are excited right now. Now, that's all going to go away here within the next couple of days. But right now, today, there are 31 fan bases excited. I'm excited for the game tomorrow. I think that's good marketing by the NFL. You got the Bucs, you got the reigning, defending Super Bowl champions, and you put them against the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys you get the. What do you
No, I'm non saying like, no, it absolutely is great marketing. It's great. It's the NFL starts. That's fine. Actually, it's a great thing. Like, it's a great honor. I like how they do it now, where if you won the Super Bowl, you kick off the season. It's a great honor. I love how they do that.
And so what I was saying is it was great marketing by having the Super Bowl champions. And now you've got the Dallas Cowboys who got a ton of eyes on them. And you've got the return of Dakota Prescott. So you got Dak. We saw what the Cowboys were so bad. They were so bad last year that the guy who started the most games for them in the absence of Dak Prescott got a starting job in Chicago. That's how bad they were. Their quarterback hit that level of awfulness that he got a starting job in Chicago over a prized rookie. But hey, that's a different story for a different time. Dak Prescott, obviously incredibly important to the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, for I think, KC, the 20th year in a row, are leaders of the hype train. All the Cowboys are going to be good. All the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East. Oh, the Cowboys are going to win the NFC. Oh, the Cowboys, this is the year. You've got Ezekiel Elliott. He's recharged, he's refocused. You got the return of Dak Prescott. You got an improved defense. You got all these different things. Oh, this Dallas Cowboy team is going to be good. You got analysts all over the four-letter network that we share our name with, picking the Dallas Cowboys to do something this upcoming year. Good hype. Good hype.
Absolutely. And you said 20
to Dak
years.
Prescott, too. Worth every dollar he got.
Oh, wow.
Worth every dollar he got.
You're gonna make me say something about Dak. I mean, Quincy Carter had the same type of hype. Like, it's the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys. So, and much about what we'll talk about later, Derek Jeter played for the Yankees. If Dak Prescott played for the Jaguars, there would not be this type of hype on Dak Prescott.
You could talk about hype. See, like me and you, we're not linked up very well the first 6 minutes of this show. I'm not talking about hype. That's not what I'm talking about.
What I'm talking about, Dak is worth every penny.
He is worth every penny because he proved it last year. The team he made that organization. He made that organization completely forget they were winless with him on the field. They were putting up points. He was throwing for 4 billion yards, but they weren't winning football games. The team was so bad after his broken lower body extremity. They were in such bad shape. They really were like, you know what? This dude led us to what was it? 0-2, 0-3. I don't know what it was, but we need to pay him the richest contract we've ever seen in the history of the NFL.
So, and I was on the same different wavelength with you before. You talked about hype. You mentioned Dak. Then I was like, okay, well, the Cowboys do hype, but that's neither here nor there. So he's worth every penny. He got paid like it. What are the expectations?
I just told you.
What?
Oh, Cowboys going to win the NFC East. Cowboys are going to win the NFC. Cowboys are going to be this. Cowboys are going to be that.
No,
Cowboys are going to be
what the
8-9. You add.
But what are the realistic? But what are the realistic expectations?
They're going to be 8-9. Oh, real.
Like, what should they be expecting if you're a Cowboys fan?
Should they be expecting? They should be
if you're a Cowboys
go to the
fan.
Super Bowl. Go to the Super Bowl. Every fan base except the Texans should feel like, and probably the Lions should feel like.
You should hope, but like where I'm getting with that is because Cowboys you paid Dak what you paid. is the expectation the Super Bowl to justify it, or
I feel
is
like
it
if you listen to any of these
second round or anything like that?
I mean, the expectations for the Dallas Cowboys are always going to be the Super Bowl. That's why they're disappointed every damn year. Hell, half the time they don't even make the playoffs. But it don't stop people. The Cowboys were terrible last year. Terrible. But yet you still have talking head after talking head telling you that it's the Dallas Cowboys year. This is it.
I wouldn't say it's their year, but I think they should be good this year.
Well, 8 minutes into the show, it's about time you start throwing out your predictions because you want to talk about your NFC championship game now, or you want to wait for that later?
We could talk about it
before.
later.
I'll have to dig up the tape if I have to because
we can talk about it later. Look, I think the Cowboys got a talented team. Like you just look at on paper what they can do on offense. I mean, they got as many weapons as anybody that you could think of in the NFC, hands down. Now, whether they live up to those to those expectations or what they could be, oh, absolutely.
Dak, I'm a big fan of Dak.
Yeah,
Zeke, if used properly, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But what else they got after that? Like
CD and Amari. I'd love to have CD and Amari in San Francisco, not in replace of Debo and Brandon Ayuk, but I'm just saying, like you have that.
Jury's out on CD Lamb. I think they can. They didn't have
pretty good last year, man.
I mean, all things considered, I guess he was.
He was pretty good.
Even Amari Cooper know he's overhyped.
Amari's been pretty good with the Cowboys. he's been solid. And this is remember all this is coming from a guy that I definitely don't like the Cowboys, but Amari's been good with the Cowboys. And CD got all the skills. Like I said, I think Brandon Ayuk probably had better numbers than CD last year. He might be a better receiver, but CD can go. And I like Gallup too.
CD, I think part of my evaluation of the Dallas Cowboys is difficult because they were such trash last year. And like anytime, Andy Dalton's, I'm good. Oh, who's this guy? What's your boy's name? He was cut. I know you were devastated. Danucci. Yeah, I'm good.
The next Tony Romo.
I'm good. Yeah, the next Tony Romo. That's right. The next Tony Romo. Yeah, that's garbage. So let me ask you this. We know definitively, I think we know definitively, Dak Prescott is the most important player to the Dallas Cowboys. Mm-hmm. And I think you could probably go across the league and point to quarterbacks most of the time and say, this player is the most important. This quarterback is the most important player on this team. Mm-hmm. Who's the most important player on the San Francisco 49ers? And I ask you because I don't think it's Jimmy Garoppolo.
I don't think so either. Although, and I know you're not making this argument, although he is pretty important.
Absolutely.
I think he's more important than people give him credit for.
I'm not asking who's pretty important. I'm asking who because Ezekiel Elliott is pretty important. Yeah. But I'd argue Dak is the most important player on that team. Dak will make Zeke better. Zeke will absolutely make Dak better, but we saw Zeke without Dak last year. Mm-hmm. I'm asking you for the San Francisco 49ers, like we talked about, this team can stay healthy. We're in good shape. But what's the one injury that could derail everything? The most important player in the San Francisco 49ers uniform this year.
It's between two people for me. Mm-hmm. It's between George Kittle, 85, just because he's – and both of these guys, I'm trying to figure out which one will be more important. And it's between George Kittle and 97. Mm-hmm. And I say those two because you can't – for this particular team, they're irreplaceable. Mm-hmm. Like you almost can't even get 50% of their production from the back of it. That's no shade to any of the tight ends or any of the pass rushers, but
it's a testament to their talent.
Yeah, you can't. A lot of times when I talk about some of these guys, it's like, well, they're not as great as them, but if you can get 70 to 80% of the production, you can survive. You can't get 70 or 80% of Kittle or 97. Mm-hmm. So I'm torn between which one is more important. And that's even crazy too, because I love Fred Warner. You know that's my guy, but I feel Dre Greenlaw, if put in that situation, might be able to give you 70% of Warner. But 97 and Kittle, Yeah, there's nothing like those two on that roster.
I feel like 97 is the one, but we're going to talk more about Kittle this Saturday. Sac State hosts Northern Iowa at Hornet Stadium. Coverage starts at 5:30 p.m. Kickoff at 6 on the home for Sac State football here, ESPN 1320. We're going to step out. We're going to erase the first 13 minutes of this program from our memory.
No,
you're going to, if y'all look into the light, Men in Black style, flashed it, erased it from your mind. We're going to really start the show when D-Lo and KC return here on Twitch, on YouTube, on the Odyssey app, and on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Yeah.
I already forgot. It's 1 per, right?
Yeah.
1 per hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Sac State football.
I got to get out to the Sac State game, man. When was the last time you went to a Sac State football game?
4, 5. It was a while ago.
It's been a little while for me. I went to one of the Causeway
4 years
games,
ago, 5 years ago.
And yeah, it was cool. Like, I mean, part of it is probably they haven't been very good before the season before last or the last time they played. But you know, you get college. So here's the deal. Here's what really is. They play on Saturday night, and it's like, yo, Clemson versus Georgia is on. Am I going to do that or go watch Sac State versus Cal Poly? I think I want to watch Georgia and Clemson. That's usually what it comes down to. But they're good now, so I'm gonna go. I'm changing that, man. I'm riding with the Hornets now, man. I'm changing it. I got to go out to a couple games. I'm gonna be in the building, man. They're good, man. Didn't they get to like 6th in the nation when they played last?
Yeah, they were really good.
Yeah,
they were legit.
Boys out.
Everyone wants to be on ESPN 1320, bro. Everybody. So, hey, we help out. Like we launched Be Heard to help voices, get out there. We do the same here on ESPN 1320. Some folks just need to be heard. So we got everybody. We got love for everybody.
Oh man, that boy David Jackson, boy, he know the ins and outs.
Oh yeah, DJ know. He know what's up. He know what's up.
That's some funny stuff, boy. Roddy, I sent that to you, man. You should be good now, man. Check your email. Unless you sending me the wrong email.
Got his burner.
I got a thought about Trey Lance too. Remind me on the flip side.
Do it right here.
I want the radio people to hear it.
No, I meant
right
here when we come back. Is Odyssey football twice a show, Jesse? Yeah, it's fine. I'll do it twice a show. It can't possibly be once an hour. Roddy finally got the email. Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to put that. I meant to get Roddy's email. I meant to put that one up. That was an accident, man. Jeez.
Oh man, comedy ensues.
I was trying to put. That's all I was trying to do. This was acknowledging he got the email. NBA rigged. What's happening, man? Welcome back.
Leezy, what's up, man? I ain't seen Leezy in a couple days.
Okay.
Omar Folsom's finest. Who's Omar and Folsom? Where Omar at? Omar, you out in Folsom, big dog? Oh, you're talking about the coach. It was Folsom's finest. Got you. Yeah, he's really good. He might not be at Sac State too long. Oh, I already know, man.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
I already know what time it is. The thing that I wonder about, though, when we say the most important, is if he was one of the only injuries last year, like if it was kind of just him and maybe, I don't know.
97?
Yeah, if it was just 97 and one or two other small ones, would they have gone 6-10? I don't think so.
So
we can talk about it.
Yeah. Football season is almost here. Get ready with the Ultimate Season Preview 2021 NFL Edition, brought to you by Odyssey and the Locked On Podcast Network. Get local takes on each team from each conference throughout the league. Plus, get expert predictions on where each team will finish. It's all found on Odyssey, your audio home for football. The conversation about the most important San Francisco 49er continued throughout the break as we debated the merits of 97. And so you were about to say something.
Yeah.
As we were coming back from commercial.
So our guy, Herb Diesel, he said, KC, we at the Niner Empire were some holds away on 97 from beating the Chiefs in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. If you look at what the Buccaneers did last year to Mahomes, putting pressure on these record-setting quarterbacks is the key to winning. We cannot lose 97. He's all correct. Like I agree. I agree with everything he said. The Super Bowl, the Buccaneers had the blueprint of what the Niners were able to do and executed it to perfection. And that's just, I mean, they didn't reinvent the wheel either. That's common sense. Like if you can get pressure with 4 and drop, what's that, 7, that's going to give you the opportunity. Mm-hmm. So the question that I had is if 97 was relatively the only person to go down last year, if it was just him and Kittle and Jimmy and Mostert and all these guys were around for the whole year, would they have still gone 6-10? I don't think so. That doesn't mean he's not the most important, but I where if you flip that, if Kittle was out all season the way Bosa was, and Bosa was still there, and everybody's relatively healthy, would they have gone 6-10? I don't know, man. I don't think so. I think they would have had a tougher time accounting for Kittle not being there.
I think there's some merit to the question, just in the sense that Nick was gone, 97 was gone. Mm-hmm. He was gone. Kittle was in and out. Mm-hmm. 97 was gone. Or I mean, George Kittle was mostly like out, and I think he came back late, and we're like,
well, he missed.
What are you doing?
He missed 2 different stints. So he got hurt at halftime of game 1, didn't return until, I'm gonna look at this for sure. I don't think he returned to like game 4. Was he in the Eagles game? I don't think he was in the Eagles game. So he was out for a minute, came back. They beat the Patriots. They beat the Rams. And then the game that he got hurt in against Seattle, they were already kind of losing. But he didn't come back from that until I think the Cardinals game in Arizona, which was like 2 games left.
Let me bring this. The one thing that I was thinking about was the merit of the defense was still pretty good.
Right.
But we talked about regularly last year. We talked about it this offseason. How different would Eric Armstead have been if Nick Bosa was around for the entire year? Mm-hmm. Hell, we've praised Fred Warner. We love Fred Warner. How different is Fred Warner going to be with Nick Bosa around? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's absolutely zero reason to expect he's not going to be good, but it's going to be different. Everything is going to be different because now we're playing with words right now, whether he's the most important or he just changes everything. Mm-hmm. Like he's the most critical. I think there's an argument to be made for either. The defense is going to be different just because Nick Bosa is out there.
Right.
Fred Warner's game is going to be a little bit different. We think Eric Armstead's game is going to be a little different. We hope that it returns to what it was like the year before the injuries to Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas and the guys who were in and out of the lineup on the defensive end through the bulk of last year. But it's hard to it's hard to argue against Kittle. It's hard to argue against 97. I mean, those are two critical pieces to what the offense and the defense are going to be doing this year.
And I'm going to throw this out there. And this is a little bit of an exaggeration, but maybe the guy has a point. Roddy says, "It's Jimmy G. You have evidence. 13-3 to 6-10." Okay. And I'll say,
and just Shy the Man says it's the quarterback always. Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Poker Pro Eric said something earlier, the same thing.
And they wouldn't have been 13-3 if Jimmy was there all year last year. But how many games did they lose because of Nick Mullins last year? So off the top of my head, I'd say 4.
The depth chart is different this year.
Yeah.
The quarterback depth chart is different. So if something were to happen to Jimmy Garoppolo, while admittedly, Trey Lance is a bit of a question mark. Just as Justin Fields is and Mac Jones is and Zach Wilson is and the rest of these rookie quarterbacks around the league. Jalen Hurts is a question mark. There's still there's still enough evidence to these question marks. So it's like, no, I think we know the answer. We need to see it in action, but I think we know the answer to this question. Like, he's going to be prepared to go. Trey's not Nick Mullins. Right. Trey's not CJ Beathard.
Right.
He's not Brian Hoyer. He's not any of the backup quarterbacks of the San Francisco 49ers past. That's why we were talking about when we first, kind of got into this conversation. Like, who's Dak Prescott? Is it Will Grier, the kid from Virginia, who was like a hype machine, I think, his junior year?
The left-handed quarterback?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
He was cut by somebody, and I think the Cowboys picked him up.
Oh, man. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think that, yeah.
So the point being,
about something totally different. I'm thinking about Kid White.
Look around at backup quarterbacks across the league. There's a few places, Chicago was one. There's a few places where they're truly comfortable with their backup because their backup is believed to be the starter one day. That wasn't the case last year.
Right.
That's why those numbers that Roddy is throwing out there and Poker Pro and all of those numbers from last year, they don't pertain to this year because the depth chart's different.
That's true. That's a good point. And like I said, we don't know what Trey Lance is today. We don't know what he's going to be. We got an idea of what he might be, but we don't know. As the great Jim Mora once said, you think you know, but you really don't know. And you never will. I believe that Trey Lance today is better than Nick Mullins last season. So to your point,
I hope so. God, I really hope so. Is Nick Mullins in the league? Does he have a team? I'm not trying to be a jerk. I think he got cut.
He got cut by Philly when they made a trade to get Gardner Minshew.
I don't know. I don't know where my boy. I don't know where Nick Mullins landed. So
yeah.
So I know your man landed a gig. Josh Rosen landed in Atlanta.
Yeah, man.
I know that.
Team.
But
made the team. Speaking of Trey Lance, I saw something last night. I wanted to bring it to the show. I don't know if it's a question. I don't know if it's a topic. Just something that I noticed evaluating him. I was watching the show called The Choice on NBC Bay Area, I think, and it just chronicles Trey's upbringing and his career and stuff like that. And one of the things that I noticed was Trey was never like this number one recruit. He got looked over at these camps and things of that nature. And it got him when he went to North Dakota State. And if you look at some of the film and they showed some of the stuff, it wasn't smooth, right? It was like it was a step up in competition, and he got in there in garbage time or something like that. And it wasn't smooth. Like he fumbled a snap. Another one, like he got back in the pocket and he just kind of took off and ran. and scored a touchdown on both situations. And when he fumbled the snap and when he dropped back in the pocket and scored, but it wasn't smooth. And it just had a feeling of something that I already felt about Trey Lance is he needs time to adjust and he needs time to get comfortable. But he's a winner and he's going to figure it out. So it may not look from day one like, oh, this guy, he's got it. He's going to go. But he's going to figure it out. And I say that because not to say we have fun and everything, like not to say I would have made the NBA or anything like that, but people ask all the time, you know, you think you would have been able to play in the league or whatever. And I was like, you know, them boys are really good. Like I'm really good. Those boys in the NBA are ungodly good, right? It's crazy how good NBA players are. But while I may not have been ready, like at a tryout or off top, I think I would have figured it out. I would have figured out my spots and how to be successful. I would have figured it out. I'm not even talking about NBA. I'm just saying professional basketball, overseas, whatever the case may be. Would have figured it out. I feel that's what Trey Lance is. He's a winner. He's a worker. He's going to figure it out. So I came away from watching that even more confident because he didn't look flawless when he started, kind of like how it is in the NFL. Yeah. And he didn't look flawless. But he's going to figure it out. I'm pretty sure of that. It's his MO.
Okay. I hope that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have a higher draft grade than he'll figure it out. I hope that they have a higher evaluation than he'll figure it out. He's a smart kid. Because that's not the most ringing endorsement of watching a player's. Oh, he'll figure it out. He's smart enough to figure it out in time.
I think the opposite. I think that is, if he's not ready, he's a winner.
But
he's going to figure out how to be as good as we expect him to be. That's what I say about that.
I think that's too simplistic.
Some people don't figure it out. Some people rely
I would argue
on
most don't.
traits.
Right. I would argue most don't. If I'm not every player has the skill set of a Trey Lance, a Trevor Lawrence, of Justin Fields, Zach, any guys taken in the first round, like 6th round quarterbacks, maybe they don't have the same skill set as quarterbacks taken in the first round, but they're good enough to be drafted. And we won't even use the 6th round. That's a bit too drastic. Let's use like the 3rd, right? Or the 4th or something like that. They're good enough to get drafted into the NFL. You could look at basketball players with this too. You could look at lottery picks. You could look at first round picks. Like athletes that are drafted have a skill set. I think their downfall oftentimes is the organization and their mindset. So I would, again, as long as he'll figure it out isn't the only evaluation you have of watching Trey Lance. Like, I guess I'm fine with it. But if that is he made some mistakes, he'll figure it out. Like, I'm not feeling that. I don't love that at all.
This is what I say. So the physical attributes they're there. They're undeniable. Like, he's got that. But like I said, now this is the extreme case. One of them, Jamarcus Russell never figured it out. He never figured out how to be a pro, how to use his talents to be super successful. Trey, and this is what I'll say, because Trey has had up and down moments in the preseason, and I feel like it's an adjustment to a new level of playing. And
how many Kings players do you think were skilled, like highly skilled, but never figured it out?
All of them.
It's kind of what I was thinking, because I was like,
for DeMarcus.
No, yeah, I mean that's obvious. De'Aaron, that's obvious. Like Willie Cauley-Stein. I'll go to the grave believing Willie Cauley-Stein is talented.
Willie never figured it out.
He never. He never figured it out.
Quincy Doobie never figured it out. Nick Stauskas never figured it out. Nick Stauskas, I would go to my grave saying Nick Stauskas.
Yes, you will.
If he would have figured out what he needed to do in this league, he could have stayed in this league. He didn't figure it out in time.
I'm actually proposing that goes on your grave. That Nick Stauskas take right there.
But I see Trey. I see everything processing in this preseason, and everything's moving super fast. Like you could just see the wheels turning really fast in his head, and it's gonna slow down. It's gonna slow down. He'll figure out the things that he needs to do with touch, with reading defense, progressions, all this other stuff. I say all this to say I have no worries about Trey Lance.
Hearing players talk about the difference in speed from college football to the NFL, even high-level college football, is really fascinating to me, because from our perspective, viewing it's football, right? Like, it doesn't look that different. It's not like you're playing 3-on-3 in college in the NCAA tournament, and then you're drafted in the NBA, and all of a sudden, like, you're playing 5-on-5 full court. You go from playing 3-on-3 half court to 5-on-5 full court. Those are different games.
Yeah.
As we saw in the Olympics, 3-on-3 is a very, very different game than 5-on-5 is.
Especially the way they play it.
Right. College football in the NFL, again, we're talking high-level college football. They look the same, but almost everyone drafted, every quarterback drafted, they'll tell you immediately, the pace is so different. The speed is so different. Like everything happens at a completely different rate in the NFL than it does in college.
Absolutely. And even I think I mentioned this when I did the 49ers game day for the preseason game, is Trey is coming from if Trey went to Clemson, there'd be an adjustment in speed between college and the NFL. Trey's coming from North Dakota State, and his program is an elite program, but they don't play elite programs. So what he saw defensively is probably like a step and a half slow to what the NFL is. So there's already a natural adjustment of going college to NFL. Now he's going from playing a little lower level competition to the NFL. There's an adjustment for that. And then there's a guy who hasn't seen, he literally got coming into the NFL is being thrown into the fire because he hadn't played in a year and a half, 2 years. And all of a sudden it's like, go be good in the NFL immediately. It would be great if he was. I'd be going crazy if he was, but he needs a little time, a little seasoning. And the one thing that I will say about Trey Lance is even in game, the more he played, like the longer he played in a game, at least the last 2 games, he started to look more and more comfortable.
How do you get that seasoning, though, now that the season's here?
Well, it's funny you say that because I heard something, and this is to your point about we were talking about Kyle Shanahan and getting Trey on the field if he's starting, whatever the case may be. And I've heard somebody talk about it, one of the beat writers, and I had missed this, but Shanahan had said he doesn't want Trey Lance to go a whole nother year without playing. So he's going to find a way to get him in. For how long, I don't know. But that kind of just jumped out to me when he said that. He's like, I don't want him to go a whole nother year without playing in meaningful football moments. So he's going to get in there. And you find your spots, you pick and choose. Hopefully you get a blowout here and there. You know what I mean? And that's how you get him. That's how you get him in there. But Shanahan's definitely going to try to incorporate him into the offense.
Well, nothing but 49ers talk from Kenny Caraway coming your way on Game Day with Kenny Caraway, which debuts. It actually doesn't debut. It returns on Sunday at 8 a.m. Woo, partner.
Yeah, I'm ready, baby. I'm ready.
Get you. It's opening day. Delivered to the house. Yeah,
it's opening weekend. Like that's not going to be hard to wake up.
I have one of those milkshakes that you drink that you call coffee delivered to your house, so you can get.
No. I mean, I appreciate that. You know, one thing we're missing right now is creamer. I got to get some creamer. I haven't had any coffee in a couple of days.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's get you some creamer and some whipped cream and chocolate and sprinkles and all of the stuff that you like putting in your coffee.
You know what's interesting about that though is I only have one cup of coffee. I hear people all the time.
Of course, man, your stomach hurts because you ingested 1,200 calories of cream.
I feel fine afterward, but I don't ever. People are like, I'm on my third cup of coffee this morning. Why would I drink coffee 3 times? I don't have time for all that. Like after the first one, it's almost time for a brunch.
Again, your version of coffee compared to like you have like a 12-year-old version of coffee. And when I had 12-year-old, I mean a 12-year-old child. You have a 12-year-old child's version of coffee, whereas the people who drink 3 cups, they're adults probably pouring in a cup, going to the desk or running around doing their meetings, doing their whatever, and it's probably black.
I mean, it don't have to be. It don't have to be
slightly
chalk.
sweet.
It don't have to be that. Like put something in there.
Not everybody needs that.
Well, they need 3 cups.
Well, that's the caffeine, though. That's not because coffee is delicious. It's because
what's
coffee's
worse,
a
the
drug.
calorie? What's worse, the calories or the caffeine?
It depends. I'd argue the calories are worse. Caffeine, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I know people like quit caffeine and do all this stuff. I think if you're taking like super clean sources of caffeine, it's not that bad. Like my issue with caffeine is I don't stop taking it. Like I drink it in the morning every single day. So if I go on a trip, right, and don't pack my morning drink with me, you ain't gonna want to be around me. Like it's all bad. Like and like by noon, the headache will be here. Caffeine is very, very much a drug.
Yeah,
and it hooks you. But I'd argue your heavy creamer and your
luckily for
cream
me,
and sprinkles that you put on top is
I'm
a little
not.
bit worse.
I can function without either one of them.
Did you see the simulation that ESPN did? Like they simulate. Okay, I'm judging by your reaction. You very much saw the simulation that the 49ers did. So you're
like Birdman.
You're buying into this where I think we have a 12-5 finish where they quote easily won the NFC West division.
Did you? Well, so yeah, I love that. But also a little bonus. Did you see how that season started for a team not named the San Francisco 49ers?
Yeah.
I like that. Make that come to fruition.
Yes. According to the ESPN simulation, Seattle struggled a little bit out the gate. And when I say a little bit, I mean bad. Like Seattle struggled bad in this simulation. Yeah. But you're all in on this. And the title of the title of the paragraph, because they break down like Browns best Chiefs in postseason. Oh, that's gonna get me to read. There's for the 49ers. Trey Lance sparks 49ers in divisional round. Divisional round, excuse me.
Yeah. And part of that was they were saying Jimmy, because I think the 49ers started 7-2. And
in this make-believe world, they had a 3-game losing streak to the Vikings, Seahawks, and the Bengals.
Yeah, that'll get you benched. You lose to the Bengals, that'll get you benched.
This is a really specific simulation. San Francisco scored just 14 points in each of the latter 2 games. That's 14 points against Seattle and Cincinnati.
Come on.
And Kyle Shanahan went full Owen Hart and said, enough is enough. It's time for a change. Okay.
Then I went to Lance, rounded off 4 straight wins to close the season, won the NFC West division. And they had Trey Lance losing in the divisional round.
I know they stunk, but Flacco got hurt, right? Like he wasn't benched for Lamar Jackson. Didn't he get hurt?
Yeah, I think.
And Lamar went in and then never lost the job after that. Kyle Shanahan speaking to the media. I'm sorry. Go ahead, partner.
I was just gonna say a lot of people really think Jimmy's just gonna I think Jimmy's gonna actually play well all season as long as he remains healthy. We always got to put that caveat there. But if Jimmy loses the job, I think it'll be to health, not to performance.
I think Jimmy Garoppolo can very much have the Alex Smith season where he can go out there, he could play really, really, really well, and he can earn himself a really good contract next year.
Yeah.
I'm of the belief that can happen. But the difference is Kansas City, they weren't doing anything with Patrick Mahomes at all that year, and other than the final game of the regular season. They weren't doing anything. We don't believe that that's the case with Trey Lance. We don't know what they're doing, but they're not doing that. He's not just going to sit and hold a clipboard for 17 games. Fred Warner, Jimmy Garoppolo, George Kittle, Jimmy Ward, Trent Williams, Eric Armstead, Raheem Mostert. Those are the 49ers team captains, according to Chris Peterman, who tweeted that out.
Well deserved.
Just a moment ago. Again, that's Fred Warner, Jimmy Garoppolo, George Kittle, Jimmy Ward, Trent Williams, Eric Armstead, and Raheem Mostert. Many of us would argue Harrison Barnes is one of the captains of the Sacramento Kings. We haven't talked a lot about Harrison Barnes this offseason. I think we need to. Pull the blinders off and have a conversation about Harrison Barnes. We're going to do that as D'Lo and KC continue here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Oh, my gosh.
What happened?
Kyle Shanahan says Jalen Hurts' knee is still hurting and he will have to be, quote, shut down for a little bit.
Yeah.
He might have to
I
cut
saw
him
that.
down. You see they brought the jump back?
Can Poker Pro stop yelling? Like, why are you repping Jimmy Garoppolo so hard today, Poker Pro? I did not. I saw I saw like the logo pop up. I feel like it was Friday. And I said, not on television. I saw it on like the website, and it was like, that must be old. And I didn't investigate. So they had the jump was on TV last week. Who's hosting it?
Isn't it Roz? I think I see it. Is that Roz Gold?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, Poker Pro going hard in the streets. I don't know. Rachel told me it was a temporary show, and that was always the plan. I'm like, no, bitch, you were temporary. Get out of here. Talk about she tried to cancel the whole show.
Hit her with that smoky.
Like, out of here.
The football Marcus Spears?
No. Spears and Perk together. Oh, I would have watched that. I would have watched Marcus Spears and Perk together. I love Marcus Spears. I absolutely he entertains the hell out of me.
He's cool. He's cool. Poker Bro, you're right. I'll stop saying that. Let's all stop saying that collectively.
Oh, Poker Pro got the Rachel. Poker Pro got the Rachel. Gosh darn it, Poker Pro. Let's see.
No, it's not. No, it's not. So right now we should say, no matter what happens, Aaron Rodgers is gonna go for 6,000 yards passing. It doesn't matter if he breaks his arm. I can promise you right now, no matter what happens, he's gonna throw for 6,000 yards. No, you can't say that, especially in football. And it's especially a football phrase because people get hurt all the time. So we don't really say that in basketball and baseball. Say it in football because people get hurt.
We'll bring you back quicker than Rachel will be brought back, Eric. Don't worry, buddy. We got you. No, she going. Going. Well, what's happening to the jump? Oh, it's canceled too. It's fine. Just go. Get your stuff. It's
a good point, man. If we're alive on Sunday, I think Jimmy's gonna have a pretty good game.
Oh, good throwback, Roddy.
You guys are talking about caffeine and everything. So I don't think I'm addicted to sugar or caffeine because I can not have that coffee and be okay. I get it almost every morning simply because it's there and I don't really have time to do much else. But on the weekends when I have time, I'm not getting no coffee. Like I'll make some eggs or something like that. Yeah. If you told me today, stop drinking coffee for 2 weeks, that's easy.
Yeah, I think caffeine's only addicting if you like get addicted to it. Like if you, I don't even know that you. I don't know. I feel like I've always had a caffeine issue though, because I liked soda when I was younger, and I stopped drinking soda. And
did you replace it? Is that what happened?
Well, I think what happened was like I used to drink a lot of soda when I was younger because my grandparents always had it. And then I think at 18 is when I started taking workout supplements, and all those have caffeine in it. We be firing off some hot takes over on Twitch and YouTube, man. It'd be a shame if you missed those. Check us out. Twitch.tv/ESPN1320, YouTube.com/ESPN1320. If you're watching right now, specifically on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button, please. Hit the subscribe button as well. It's a great way to interact with the show. The chat house is jumping off. We've had to throw Poker Pro Eric. Poker Pro got the Rachel Nichols treatment here during the commercial break, but he's welcome back. Unlike the other person, he's welcome back in here anytime he would like. Poker Pro's repping hard for Jimmy Garoppolo here today.
He got time today for Jimmy.
That's all right. That's all right,
man. I think Jimmy can play.
Jalen Hurd, on the other hand, cannot. He may be starting the season on IR.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I said D Ford was going to be impactful as my bold take. I didn't say nothing about Jalen Hurd. God bless the brother, because I wanted him to make the roster because I wanted him to have an opportunity.
Yeah. It's not, I don't know if it's going to happen for him, man. I don't know if it's going to happen.
That's tough.
Can't rely on him.
That's tough.
So I don't know what their next move is going to be, if they're, if they keep him around on the practice squad or whatever they can do. I'm not sure what they can do, but
well, it looks like IR. That's the first. Well, Kyle Shanahan sometimes says, I think we're going to send a guy to IR. Like, we haven't really decided yet. We're going to talk it through. And then, like, by the time he's done talking, the press release goes out that Jalen Hurts on IR. So, like, we could know here. We legitimately could know here in minutes.
Yeah.
In absolute minutes.
So,
breaking news on ESPN 1320 is powered by Odyssey and presented by BetQL. Become a better sports better, get smarter to beat the books. Download the BetQL app or visit BetQL.com today. If we had asked you to go to BetQL and make a wager on the Sacramento Kings making a big trade this year, we probably would have taken those. I don't know what the odds would have been. They probably would have been good, and we probably all would have taken them like, yeah, it's getting done. And we've spent a lot of our time focusing on the universal deal, the Buddy Hield, Marvin Bagley, combination of whatever else you want to do after that. And primarily that's done because of salary. But he's often thrown in there because of salary. I've always said that I think Ben Simmons would make much more sense on a team that has Buddy Hield on it versus a team that doesn't. And that's really the only time we ever put Harrison Barnes' name out there, is potentially being an interchangeable piece of the universal deal that we have created here on D-Lo and KC, and that have many Kings fans have created. But should we be having a deeper conversation about Harrison Barnes?
I mean,
the issue with Harris, I'm saying we don't like Buddy Hield. You believe Buddy Hield is easily replaceable. You believe there's a replacement on the roster right now. Marvin, I think everyone's kind of like, hey, best of luck on your future endeavors. But we like Harrison Barnes.
Yeah,
I think we really like Harrison Barnes, the player, and we really, really like Harrison Barnes, the person, and what he means to Sacramento. But everyone wants to put him at the 4. Everybody wants him to play this position that I guess it's just you and me. Nobody else believes that Harrison Barnes, should play the 3, or that he's not a a natural fit in today's NBA at the 4. So I guess me and you, that'll go on both our collective gravestones when we're buried next to each other. Nick Stauskas and Harrison Barnes will be on yours, and Harrison Barnes and some other poor take of my past will be placed on mine. But is Harrison Barnes an attractive trade piece across the league?
I feel like he is. He's a good ball player, somebody that you can rely on, whatever those numbers are, 15, 16 points a game, 5 to 6, maybe anywhere between 5 and 7 rebounds a night. Solid play. He's somebody you can rely on. It's not going to be spectacular, but I mean, that's a huge deal when you know what you're getting from a guy. You know what you can depend on from a guy. It's a huge deal. He gives you that. So I feel like he is somebody that could be of interest to a lot of people around the league.
I feel like it's been easy to place Buddy on teams across the league. Harrison, I have a tougher time with. Like, there was a rumor that I don't believe, I have strong reason to believe, had zero validity to it last year, and it was the Brian Scalabrine rumor of Harrison Barnes to the Celtics, and the Celtics' only focus at the trade deadline was Harrison Barnes. We would talk pretty regularly leading into the trade deadline. That doesn't make a ton of sense.
All right.
Why would Boston, like, what are they going to do with him? Like, that's not that this doesn't add up.
So
I don't know where to place Harrison around the league.
So,
not that every team couldn't use him, but what team was like, you know what we need? We need Harrison Barnes. I don't know why every general manager talks like Vince McMahon.
So let me ask you this. Do you think Harrison would be easier to move than Buddy Hield?
Easier.
I do. And I can, off the top of my head, I'm just going to this, this list of teams.
Why do you think he'd be easier?
Because I think his fit, his game, I think you can start him wherever you're going. Like if these guys but
why? But why? And I feel like this is just terrible Harrison Barnes slander, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But with Buddy, at least you look at Buddy and you go, whether it's perception or it's not reality or whatever, you're acquiring Buddy. It's the Buddy and Philly thing. You're acquiring. Well, he can shoot. Los Angeles wanted Buddy. You can make your faces. That's why they're doing it. Again, whether that's reality or not, that's why they're doing it. Oh, we need a shooter. What did the Lakers want Buddy Hield for? They wanted him to shoot. You can point to something specific with Buddy, whether you believe that it's real or not, and go, well, he's a shooter. We saw him win the 3-point contest. That's what we want him to do for us. That's what we want him to do in Los Angeles. That's what we want him to do in Philly. When you look at Harrison, though, we want veteran leadership. We want a defensive.
You look at Harrison and you say, this guy can be one of the best 5 players on our team. Can't say that for Buddy Hield. We talk about like, and it's different now because they made moves and stuff like that. I could make the argument. I don't know how it would work or whatever the case may be. I could argue you trade Buddy to the Lakers. He's not going to be out there at the end of games. You need stops. You need somebody to get out there and get some stops. They're not putting him out there. Playoff basketball type stuff.
Okay.
Harrison, you can put out there at the end of the game.
So you're a team. If you're acquiring Harrison, you're acquiring him for defense primarily, or is all around basketball like you? All
around, because he can do it. But like, he's going to give him the opportunity. He's going to get you 15. He's going to get you 15. He's going to play solid defense. He's got the veteran savvy. He has a high basketball IQ. And once again, we just talked about with who were we just talking about? Was it Jalen Hurd or whatever? Reliability. You can rely on Harrison Barnes. We're talking about Harrison Barnes. You can rely on Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, you can't rely on Jalen Hurts. you can't rely on him.
Yeah, you can't. So off the top of my head, I just went to the list of teams. Brooklyn would take Harrison Barnes. Now I don't know if they would.
Brooklyn will take anybody. What are we talking about? Brooklyn has apparently Brooklyn has the largest roster in the NBA.
Brooklyn would take Harrison Barnes. I feel like Milwaukee would take a Harrison Barnes.
Okay, Milwaukee, I can see. Milwaukee, I can envision that right out the gate.
Milwaukee wouldn't take Buddy Hield.
Okay.
The Knicks.
I can see the Knicks taking Harrison Barnes over Buddy Hield. Yeah, I can see
Atlanta would take Harrison Barnes over Buddy Hield. Miami would take Buddy Hield or Harrison Barnes over Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
And now whether there's a trade package or something that matches up, that's a whole nother thing. But just saying player for player, I think if they were pushing Harrison Barnes, which we're not advocating for,
right?
But there does need to be a discussion about it if you're trying to get better as a team. I do think you should. I'm at the point now where, like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. That doesn't mean we want to do it, but what is out there?
We've talked about everything else this offseason with the exception of Harrison Barnes.
That's why
we've talked more about Davion Mitchell than we have Harrison Barnes. Yeah. Davion Mitchell been a King for 5.5 minutes.
But even if I'm the Kings, internally, we don't even have to make phone calls. We don't have to let everybody else know that he's available. Internally, we didn't want to talk about this, but we can't move Buddy. We can't seem to move Marvin Bagley. If we're trying to improve this roster, maybe it's a Marvin and Harrison. What does that look like? What do you think we could get for that? I think there's significantly more options if Harrison Barnes is involved as opposed to Buddy Hield.
You're listening to ESPN 1320 KIFM, West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, and Odyssey Station, and driven by Lashers, Elk Grove Dodge, Kinnick. I'm David Barnley, still on KC here on Twitch. On YouTube, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. We're on the Odyssey app as well. Hit the heart button, save us as your favorite radio station, and keep listening here on 1320 AM. If you're in the car, set us as a preset. We have got you covered for 49ers football and for Kings basketball, both of them quickly approaching. Let's go to our man Rob W's question. I'm not understanding how this is even a question. What makes Buddy more valuable, especially considering his contract? Well, one, contracts aren't that different. Two, Buddy's contract goes down. But the question is not which one. The question is more valuable to other teams. What I'm asking is, with Harrison Barnes, are you just, hey, yeah, we're acquiring a good, solid player here? Again, you're not a Sacramento Kings-like team isn't acquiring either one of these guys. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a Philadelphia, a Miami, someone like that. In the case of Buddy Hield, we believe he works in Philadelphia. They probably wanted Buddy Hield a part of their stupid De'Aaron Fox trade proposal or Tyrese Halliburton trade proposal or whatever the alleged trade proposal was out there. Even though De'Aaron and Tyrese were in the mix, I'm confident they wanted Buddy Hield as a part of it as well. The Lakers, we know that they wanted Buddy Hield at least for 5.5 minutes. They did. But our belief is they want him as shooters. You say this all the time. Hell, we saw it at the end of last year. When you got one bad defensive player, you can hide it. You can hide him. You can hide their liabilities. We saw it. We saw Buddy. How did the team get better defensively? With Tyrese out, with De'Aaron out, with Marvin out. Well, with Marvin gone specifically, you only had to hide one bad defender at the end of games, and that was Buddy. Well, if you're on the Lakers or you're on Philadelphia or, my gosh, Miami, it would be easy to hide Buddy. And I still think that you're operating off of we long questioned, what do people think about Buddy Hield across the league? Like, what do they think out of Sacramento? And then it was you that found the soundbite of Jackie McMullen. Oh, Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield's great. Go get Buddy Hield. Get Buddy Hield out of Sacramento. He'd be perfect. And I don't even know what team they were talking about. They might have been talking about Boston. I don't know what team they were talking about. But it's like, wait, is that the national perception of Buddy Hield? Like, is the only time the national media saw Buddy was that 3-point contest?
Seems like it.
And they think that's what he is on a night-to-night basis, or they just look at the number and they see that they look at the 39. Oh, he was just short of being a 40% 3-point shooter. Like, yeah. He was, but y'all didn't see how he got to that 39%.
Yeah. Right. And it's so Cody H says the Lakers and Philly are the best spots for Buddy. HB can probably go to about 20 teams. He's right about that. He's 100% correct. And even with that, when I talked about the Lakers deal, because it was like Montrez and Kuz were coming back to Sacramento. So Buddy, at the time, the Lakers really didn't have much of anything. But let's just say at the time, they still had Schroeder. So it was going to be like, we're going to put Schroeder and Buddy out there just because they can shoot to go along with LeBron, AD, and some random four. Like, that's not good enough. Like, you add, and this, once again, you add Buddy into some of these situations, and it's like, that's not good enough. And if your team is good enough, you're probably not playing Buddy down the stretch.
But I think some of you are missing the question, or some of you are missing my point. They're Sacramento Kings right now. Is someone going, you know what we need? We need a Harrison Barnes. We need to acquire, because the chances are Miami has a guy on their team who could do what Harrison Barnes does. Okay.
And it probably wouldn't happen because they got history. I think Dallas would be perfect to get
talk to me
Barnes.
About Dallas. Dallas will take anything in the league if they feel like they landed something important. They'll be, hey, look at what we did. Dallas is going to come back up in a conversation later because Paul Pierce was talking, and I like Paul Pierce actually said something I found interesting.
Paul Pierce like, talking too damn much in certain settings.
Paul, I saw that. Yeah,
you out your mind, bro. Wow,
you got Celtics fans out there still repping for him. Won't say any names. Won't say any names at all. I was just waiting for you to jump in, buddy. That's all. That's all.
But, I mean, I look at Harrison, and they're probably not looking at it like right now, where it's like we need Harrison Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Kings were like, Harrison Barnes is available, they go, okay, well, we could use that. We didn't even know. We didn't know what was going on. Mm-hmm. We could use that. Whereas in some situations, they're like, Buddy Hield is available. They're like, my mom's calling me on the other line. I'll hit you right back, bro.
How many draft picks are you going to send us to take Buddy Hield here?
No,
it's not, and again, I just want to, I'm not questioning who a better player is. I'm not questioning who's most, I'm talking about from a trade perspective.
Yeah.
Who can garner a bigger market or perhaps who could garner a better return.
Right.
And maybe with Buddy, we saw a potential return. With Harrison, we haven't, and hopefully we don't, because again, this conversation is not to advocate for trading away Harrison Barnes.
And look, to be completely fair, we saw a trade that was damn near done. Everybody involved thought it was damn near done. Mm-hmm. That was a pretty good deal for Buddy. I thought that was a good deal. Getting Kyle Kuzma back, Montrezl Harrell, who had been struggling of late, but I still think he would have been productive. That's not bad. Yep. Like, that's not bad. So it's not like Buddy has no value, but Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell aren't Ben Simmons and Pascal Siakam, right? Like, when you talk about trying to get those type of pieces, I don't think Buddy Hield does it. Although maybe I'm contradicting myself here. I don't think so, but I think the universal proposal is a pretty good deal for Ben Simmons, to be honest, considering what I think is really out there for Philadelphia. I think that's a good deal.
Well, that's good. We're an hour and 6 minutes into the show, and that's the first time Ben Simmons' name has come up. So we're making some progress here in the Ben Simmons trade talks, as everything is just kind of gone quiet. Not that it was ever really loud. There were just various reports right away. Keith Pompey threw some gasoline on the fire a little bit late last week.
Yeah.
I don't know what interview did we post? Matt, I think it was Matt George. We had Matt on last week talking Locked On Kings, and we talked a lot about Ben Simmons, and boy, that particular video over there on YouTube fired up the comment section, and there were people from Philly jumping in. And I think Philly fans have lost their mind.
I told you that 2 years ago.
No, but okay, you're right. You did.
They got at me hard when I said that 2 years ago.
I think Philly fans have lost their mind. Like, go check out, not right now because obviously you're watching something, but later. Go check out there's an isolated video. We try to take all of our, different conversations with people, especially the ones here, on the video stream, and isolate them on YouTube. So if you just want to, go check out our conversations with Matt George or James Ham or whatever, you can go see him.
Yeah.
And go look at the comment section with the folks from Philly, man. They still think Ben Simmons can get Dame Lillard. Like, it's crazy. I was replying to some of these, like, there was even one like, yo, we ain't even talking unless it's De'Aaron Harrison, Buddy, and Bagley. It's like, damn. Is this for Joel and Ben Simmons? Like,
and Dr. J? Are you putting Dr. J in there as well?
What planet is Philadelphia on?
Yeah,
that comment section,
stuff, man.
That comment section on that video was wild.
I'm you know where I'm going on the break. I definitely got to check that out. But
it's fantastic.
Two different things here. Two different things going on. Our guy David Garcia, 209 David Garcia, he says Barnes is core. He stays.
I'm with it.
And Brian Cruz says core. Who is the core at this point? And you know what? Look, man. We talked about it yesterday about, are we overvaluing guys? Are we thinking too much about guys or whatever? And I said no. And I'm going to just continue to keep it real. Harrison Barnes is core, singular. He's not core.
Okay. Tyrese is core. Tyrese is core. De'Aaron is core.
I know people think we're going crazy about all this.
You gonna put Davion in there?
I'm just saying. Look, I already said I wouldn't trade him for Ben Simmons. I already said that, and I meant it. I said it with my chest.
Well, we did just sign our boy, friend of the show, to a 4-year deal. Not we, you and I did. Sacramento Kings. Rashawn and Core.
Put me in a tough,
huh? Is Rashawn core or core?
Put me in a tough spot.
Rashawn is core. He's core. He's singular. He's core.
He's core. We love you if you're core. We love you if you're core.
Absolutely. 100%.
Damn. Sorry, Dr. Holmes.
I pulled up the video. I couldn't help it, bro. There's 101 comments on this video.
Hey, Philly fan, wild boy. There's some wild people, man. Hey, guess what? The Niners play the Eagles in a couple weeks too, boy. They gonna check out.
Here's one. I remember this guy. This was good. Sixers are smart playing the waiting game for Dame or Beal. Ben is under contract, so if he wants to sit out games in training camp, he'll be hurting himself. Woo, boy!
Look, man, I'm gonna tell you like this. That other story that came out like over the weekend that they were saying he sits out training camp, doesn't report or whatever. He could lose 1.3 million. You know, we watch pockets on this show. And
yeah, we are the pocket watchers. Yes, indeed.
And I know 1.3 is 1.3. I know that. I know. Ain't no dismissing that. I don't think Ben's stripping off 1.3.
I don't think he is either.
If you really don't want to be there, and Rich Ball's like, look, I'll get you 1.3 on your next deal. Okay, if it means that much. Well, he ain't tripping off 1.3.
Sixers fan here. Unless we get Fox or minimum Halliburton and Hield, and we aren't going to trade him to the Kings unless maybe we get Hield, Bagley, and like 3 or 4 first-round picks.
We ain't got TVs and the internet out here in Sacramento. We didn't watch the playoffs. We ain't watched Ben Simmons the last 2 years. Wow. Or 3 years because he got hurt last year, so that's not his fault. got hurt.
Cavs are swirling the internet by offering K-Love, Colin Sexton draft picks, and if a third team gets involved, another star to go to Philly.
Oh my gosh, bruh.
I love Philly, man. Y'all are some wonderful people.
Do we sound like that?
Do we? I hope not, man. I hope not.
Wait a minute.
I hope not.
What was that offer? Because Roddy, that's a good point. What was that offer that the guy from Philly wanted?
It was the universal deal, but like 4 picks. Yeah. Oh, there's some good ones here. But my favorite one, this was the one that caught my attention on the thread. Sixers are smart playing the waiting game, waiting for Dame or Beal. I was like, oh my God, I'm reading every comment on this video.
Gosh.
I'm reading every comment on this video.
That's enough. You're right about that one, Ramsey.
Boy, these kids are some circus clowns.
We'll come back. We'll talk more Kings because it's a good weekend. In fact, it's a good week for Sacramento Kings and former Sacramento Monarchs. We'll explain. Plus, De'Aaron Fox getting drug tested. That's all coming up here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. Kinda, but did he?
Can't move on from him.
Did he?
You would think. I don't know.
2 years, okay.
Okay, that's okay. I'm okay with him being core. Now, at some point, core, like you only have room for what, 4 people?
That's fair.
Stops at 4.
Okay. Is that Halliburton, Fox, and Holmes? KC really wants to put Davion in there.
I know I'm sounding crazy to you guys, but Davion, oh boy, not a circus clown. That boy Davion, he's a culture changer, man. I believe that. I really do believe people when they say that.
Matt George and
guys like that.
Matt George and Jason Anderson bringing the heat on their video views, by the way.
They trying to get to that ham status.
Boy, they be tuning in for the hammer
Today.
James Ham is he's like Edge. He's the rating superstar. And he didn't even have to have a live sex celebration with Lita.
Oh, no, that was crazy, man. Come on, that was crazy.
That was very much so I watched this stuff, huh?
Bruh.
Jeez.
They lost their damn mind with that one.
And she really got naked.
They lost their mind with that one.
That was not a PG-14 telecast.
Jeez. Yeah, they wildin'. That was they did that like they was in the Val Venus days.
Whew. Oh man, the rated R superstar. The rated R superstar. It's funny. Huh. Man, goodness gracious, boy. That new company way of handling fees is the greatest damn thing that's ever happened in life. It is the absolute greatest thing that's ever happened in life.
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
I like that.
And
at least they give us a breakdown now, because before I was like, I'm supposed to be getting this, and I got this. At least now I can see it and prepare for it.
Before, I didn't even know. I was just like, look, here, y'all figure it out. I don't know. I have no freaking clue. I haven't heard from Black Bottles 916 in a couple days.
Yeah, I gotta reach out to the homie, man. Definitely gotta reach out to the homie. Gregory Wilson said Bagley and Buddy would make Philly scary, especially if Bagley could live up to the hype. He's not wrong.
I did. Yeah. I don't think that's true. I've never heard that before. I don't think that's true.
What'd he say?
Hang on, I lost you.
Oh wow. Yeah, I never heard that. What?
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I've never heard that before. I feel like that's something I would know. Any other wrestling fans collaborate that story? Collaborate.
Oh boy, Bryce going hard out here, man.
Huh? What's going on?
Boy, Bryce going hard, man.
I see it.
He hadn't backed up yet since yesterday.
I see it.
He's pissed. We appreciate you, Bryce.
Oh, a lot of great things streaming on the Odyssey app, including hundreds of exclusive music stations that are available now. The new Odyssey exclusive stations on the Odyssey app, brought to you in part by Macy's, Geico, and Coke Zero Sugar. If you're watching on YouTube right now, hit the thumbs up, please. Some of y'all being lazy. You got one job. You come in here, you watch the show, hit the thumbs up. And then y'all just so eager to jump in the chat. We got y'all hanging out here. Plenty of questions about the conversations we had with Harrison Barnes. By the way, Chris Webber going into the Hall of Fame this weekend.
Yeah.
Along with Rick Adelman, Yolanda Griffith.
Hold on, man. All three of them, man. They all deserve air horns. Chris Webber, Hall of Famer. Rick Adelman, Hall of Famer. Yolanda Griffith, Hall of Famer.
Well, in the same vein, since we got the air horn button ready, can we show some love to Tisha Penicheiro and Yolanda Griffith, who were named to the WNBA's top 25 players of the first 25 years of the league?
That's what the hell I'm talking about. Let's go. And I got some applause for them, man. Come on, man. Come on. I'll forget the applause. I'll give it to myself. Let's go, damn it.
Kenny's applause button broke. Oh, it's tragic. I was ready for the long. I was ready for the long applause too.
We got some applause.
It was on delay. Hey.
Yeah.
Now, so the difficulty with list, like any list, there's going to be this happens every year with all-stars. Well, who's an all-star snub? And for me, in order to have an all-star snub, you have to look at the list of all-stars and go, okay, this person shouldn't have made it, but this person should have. That's a snub. It's only a snub if there's a person who's not deserving on the list. And I was looking at this WNBA's top 25 list, and there is a glaring omission. Now, I have a lot of frustrations with the league. I had a pretty close relationship to that league for a while, and at least familiar to a certain degree of their inner workings. I know that they have players that they really like. They're like the WWE in a sense. When they find someone that they like, they'll push them to the moon. When they find their Roman Reigns or John Cena, they'll give them the push. But there are certain players that they just never took a liking to, that never got that push. We mentioned Tisha Penicheiro and Yolanda Griffith.
Yeah.
Rebecca Brunson is a 5-time WNBA champion. Now, she's not a 5-time WNBA champion like, no disrespect, Robert Horry, or, again, not a knock, Steve Kerr. She's a 5-time WNBA champion. Like, if you take her off those teams, they don't win, with one exception, and that's the 2005 Sacramento Monarchs. She was not yet an integral part of the team because Yolanda Griffith was here.
All right. And
she emerged in the final years of the Sacramento Monarchs being in Sacramento as a great player. She winds up going to Minnesota, where I think she was questioning whether she would even play there. She goes on to make 5 all-star teams, 7 all-defensive teams, and as I mentioned, 5 WNBA championships. Her teammate Maya Moore was on it. Her teammate Simone Augustus is on that list. Her teammate Lindsay Whalen is on the list. She wasn't. And that is the biggest like travesty of that list. And as I said, there's when you have a snub, you have to look at the list and go, that person doesn't belong on it.
Yeah.
Swin Cash does not belong on that list.
That's where you went.
Swin Cash is not a top 25 player in league history. Swin Cash might not be a top 50 player in league history. She is a player who the league has always like loved. She was a role player on the really good Detroit Shock teams. But somehow and I know how, she got included on this list. She is far, far, far from a top 25 player. And it's a shame that Rebecca Brunson got left off of this list in place of. There's probably one or two other names I could look at and go, we could debate about them. But Swin Cash is the one where it's like, this is laughable.
So I you can decline to say anything if you want to. But I was looking at this list too.
Mm-hmm.
And there's two names that jumped off to me. Swin Cash wasn't one of them. And it's not to say, obviously, we're talking 25 greatest players of all time, like influential and everything. So if I say, this person should have been 28, that doesn't mean they're bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
But there's two that I weren't really familiar with, and you can help me out here. Sylvia Fowles.
Oh, Sylvia's belongs on that list. Yeah.
Okay.
She actually, I left her off of that. She was on that Minnesota team too. Like Sylvia, she's the leading rebounder in league history. By the way, you know who she took the rebounding record from?
Right.
Rebecca Brunson.
Oh,
her teammate.
Wow.
But hey, that's just me.
Angel McCoughtry.
Angel McCoughtry, scorer, elite scorer.
Over Rebecca Brunson though.
I probably wouldn't have gone that route.
Those are only
I think
two.
She's led the league in scoring a couple of times. Like I would still take Swin off the list.
Okay.
And I just had the weirdest added, like Rebecca Brunson just added me to something on the WhatsApp app or what's that? WhatsApp. I didn't even know I had that on my phone, but Rebecca Brunson just added me to something while we're talking about her. So I don't know if she's watching or listening. But B, shout out to you. You are one of the 25 greatest players to ever play in the WNBA. So,
and we're having a discussion, and we're treating it like the true, real, regardless of what people try to say, sports franchise and organization that it is. Shout out to all them ladies that made it. You guys are, we can debate it just like in a couple months we'll debate NBA 75, right? And we're debating this the same way. And all you ladies can go, can play. Well, that's what I mean by that, right? Like you guys can play. You're all timers, and congratulations to all those that made it in to Rebecca Brunson. Absolutely.
Okay, you mentioned NBA 75.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Hall of Fame this week. Is Chris making that list?
We talked about that. Well, we were supposed to talk about that a couple of weeks ago, and I looked into it, and I feel like he is. I do feel like he is.
Mm-hmm.
But I also, the question to ask is, since 1996, has there been 25 all-time players? And if it's not like
that was when the 50 came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's not like an official yes, there has been 25 players, it's like really, really close. Like
So
I feel like there has been.
I was wondering, like, if anybody on that 50 list doesn't make the 75 list.
I mean, I feel like they have to.
But do you? Like, I mean, I get, like, what if you were like 49th? And then, in comes Kobe, in comes LeBron, in comes Tim Duncan.
There were guys on that list that didn't make it, that they shot. I mean, the main one everybody talks about is Dominique Wilkins. He wasn't on that list. So it's like, oh, man. So Dominique is already
going to
like
be the Dominique?
55. Yeah.
Dominique ain't going to make the top 75 list.
Oh,
Dominique ain't going to make the top 75 list. Are you telling me since 1996 you don't think there are 25
I think
Greatest
there is.
players who could go on this list.
So off the top of my head, you got, jeez, you go
right,
exactly. You almost got 10 from that 96 draft.
Exactly.
Right? You got Kobe, AI, Nash, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan. I'm still in the early 2000s here. I don't think Shaq was on that team on the 50 list.
Mm-hmm.
Was he?
No, if it was 96,
no, Shaq was on there. Shaq was on there. They had like maybe five or six current players on there. Shaq was one of them. Jordan, Pippen. I think David Robinson was a current. They might have had like 10 guys that were in the league at that time on that list. So Shaq was on here. But then, you get into LeBron, D Wade, Dirk. I mean, I don't know if Chris gets it, man.
I think there are going to be some names that don't make this list, that don't make the top 75 list. I'm just looking at them now, like, okay.
That's great. That's crazy because I really feel like
and they didn't rank them. Like, it wasn't like this guy's 50th and this guy's 1. It was like, these are the top 50 players in NBA history.
Right. They just put the 50 out there.
And I wonder who the voters are, because I'm looking at the voters for 50, and it's Kareem is here, Marv, Elgin Baylor, Larry Bird was a voter, Wilt Chamberlain was a voter, Bob Cousy. I mean, not trying to. Some of these guys aren't here anymore. Dr. J's a voter, Magic, George Mikan's a voter, Jerry West is a voter. Isaiah Thomas. They gave Isaiah Thomas voting power. That's all right.
So let me give you one of them here. Oh man, this is crazy as I look through who's been here in the 2000s. Is Chris Webber, should he be on there before Tracy McGrady?
Ooh.
That's close.
Ooh. Pass. Pass. Phone a friend. Phone a friend.
Should he be on there before? Who's another one on this list? Should he be on there before Alonzo Mourning? I say yes.
Yeah, I'd say yes.
So like here's the crazy thing, right? I'm at this thing where they ranked the best players in the 2000s, and essentially like your Duncans, your Kobe's that weren't in that 96, they get lumped into that 2000 set. Right now, on this random list, it's nobody's list, a random list, they have Webber at 26.
Okay.
Chauncey Billups is ahead of him. I'd put Webber ahead of Chauncey Billups.
I wouldn't do that.
Paul Gasol's ahead of him. I'd put Webber. Paul's resume is crazy, but I put Webber ahead of him. I put him ahead of Chris Bosh. Are we in agreement there?
Oh, Chris Bosh was really good.
He was.
Chris Bosh was really, really good.
Titles now to back it up.
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer too. Chris Bosh is really good. That pass.
You know what I mean? Chris better than Yao?
No, Yao's getting in.
You think Yao's getting in the top 75?
Yao's importance to the league will get him in.
Wow.
Yao launched a multi-billion-dollar relationship in the league. A player be damned. He's going to get. I mean, and by the way, he was a great player. Mm-hmm. He's the Barry Sanders or Terrell Davis, version, but short.
I love
stature, but in career.
I love these things. That's why I'm just going on and on about it. I love rankings and stuff.
Now I'm looking at coaches, because I assume are they going to add coaches, because they have coaches.
Yeah, they got them in 50, so I'm assuming they would add maybe 10 to 15 more for 75. This is an interesting one right here.
Oh man, okay, I got a coach question. Go ahead. Reggie
Miller. I don't think he's on the NBA 50. They'll probably look to put him in 75, or will they? Should Reggie be on there before Chris Webber?
Reggie's not on the 50. And yeah.
They got Manu Ginobili. Weber should be in ahead of him.
Yeah, I put him
Derrick
ahead of Manu.
Rose. Here's another interesting one. I'd put him ahead of Derrick Rose. Absolutely.
Yeah, like Derrick
probably should have been ahead of Chris Webber, but injury.
He didn't. He wasn't. Right?
Yeah. Paul Pierce.
Yeah, Paul Pierce will make it.
But should he be on there ahead of Chris Webber?
Should he? No. Will he? Yes.
And then they got the
He's
regular.
part of the most overrated championship in league history. So yeah, like he'll never let you forget about the 2008 Boston Celtics team that won exactly one title. Like they won the same amount of titles that Detroit Pistons team. I never hear Chauncey Billups or any of those guys running around talking about the championship that they won. But boy, them dudes in Boston, they can't stop talking about the one that they got.
So after this little study here, this real quick study, I think Webber gets on there.
Okay.
I think he does. I just think you got the best players from the 2000s right here. He's 26 on this list. I think we probably picked about 5 guys.
But when does this list that you're looking at end? Is it like 2000 to 2010 or is it 2000
it's
to like
2000 to 2009? And since 2009, who's come in that would be on the NBA 75?
So I mean,
I don't think there's. Might
tell me they're not going to put Luka at 75.
Then they want to. They want to.
Honorable mention. We've got to have him here. Luka, I mean,
but they got all the guys in here covered. Giannis might get in there. I think AD get on there.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But I said no more than 5 guys.
Okay.
They got the usual. So they got the Wades, the Carmelos,
Ben Simmons. Never mind.
So I think Webber might get on there. Davion, if you ask me.
Yeah, I know. Yes, we recognize that. If we ask you, Davion Mitchell's going on the top 75. He'll be the only one who hasn't played a game yet.
Is not right. Luka will be in the top 10.
Dude, that's for
of
real.
all time.
It's going to be Michael Jordan, Luka Doncic. Can I ask a coaching question? I didn't mean to get so lost in this, but I looked at this list and now I'm just like, even if they add 5 coaches to it, I mean, Greg Popovich isn't on, the 75 list. He'll make it. Spo's making it, right? Because I feel like we're pop. Greg Popovich over and over again. We're Greg Popovich. But Eric Spoelstra's resume is pretty legit. Like Spo should be on this list.
2 NBA championships, 4 appearances, 5 appearances. Actually,
I think he's got 3 NBA championships
as a head coach, though.
Doesn't he?
He's got as a head coach, he has 2. Because Pat won the one with Shaq and Wade.
Oh,
then he won the next 2.
Then he won the 2 with.
But he's got 5 appearances. We forget about. Well, I forget sometimes about the one. He went to in the bubble. That's an NBA Finals appearance.
Yeah.
So 5 NBA Finals appearances.
I mean,
he's got a hell of an argument.
If of the last 25 years, if Pop is number 1, if we're ranking coaches just in the last 25 years, who's number 2 if it's not Eric Spoelstra? I mean, I guess this is still the Phil era.
Well, Phil, from what I see right now,
Phil would be.
Phil was in the NBA at 50. From what I can see,
yeah.
So he's already.
If we isolated my question to just the last 25 years,
it'd be Pop.
And Phil would
Larry
be
Brown.
Phil was the 2000s.
I think Larry Brown should get in there.
Okay.
2. He got 1 championship, 2 finals appearances.
You are hating on Spo.
Well, Spo could be in there too.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's got more of a resume than Larry Brown. I'm just trying to think of some of the guys that would be in there.
I mean, Steve Kerr gets in, right?
Yeah, Steve Kerr is a lock.
Does Steve Kerr go in with Luke Walton so they can share their victories? Does Luke Walton make the coaching list of the top 75 in the NBA 75? I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah,
My
I
friend's
think he
name is Luke.
does. I think he
No, he
does.
does
Luke, you're
not.
going into the top 75.
No, but he'll get thanked.
We did.
He'll get thanked.
I look in the chat and they're laughing. I don't know if they're laughing because we forgot him or they're laughing that he should be on this list. But Doc Rivers is on that list, correct?
Yeah.
1 championship, 2 appearances.
Yeah.
I guess if I put Larry Brown on there, Doc Rivers has to be on there.
Yeah.
But that's about it, right? That's about it.
So
You got room.
like
You got room to add
with.
5, I guess.
The one I went with right out the gate was, and that's not even adding 5 because, I mean, I had mentioned Phil. Phil's he was in the 50.
Mhm.
Pop wasn't, so he'll make it.
So Pop,
I
Kerr,
feel like
Spo,
it's her. Yeah.
Pop, Kerr, Spo, and Ty Lue. Ty Lue's got a championship and 3 appearances.
Okay. Well. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
What about the guy going in the Hall of Fame?
He should be.
What about Rick Adelman?
He absolutely should be.
I mean, 90. So 96 was the first list. So he made his first NBA Finals appearance. Let's see. He had been to 2 NBA Finals at that point. I don't think he went to another one.
Not to cut you off. No, guys, Rick Carlisle's not on this list. No. No. Was Rick Carlisle? No, that was Avery Johnson who was there the first time they went to the finals. I think it was Avery.
Yeah, I think it was Avery Johnson too.
Rick Carlisle didn't make the playoffs for like 5 years. No.
I mean, he's got longevity. He's got longevity with one team. That's all that he really has. I mean, I think I might go Rick Adelman over Rick Carlisle.
I would too. No shade to Rick Carlisle. He's a good coach.
That's not.
I know we have a running joke that I hate Dallas or whatever, but I'm not a hater.
That's not a joke.
No, I'm not a hater. Rick. Well, no, I do
That's
hate
not
Dallas.
a joke.
I do hate
Dallas.
But I'm not a hater. Rick Carlisle's a really good coach. Like he's fine. I would go with Rick Adelman though.
Yeah, I'd go Rick Adelman too.
Oh,
so I think if we added 5, I think we'd need one more.
But look, I mean, Rudy T, Jerry Sloan.
No, I don't know that I do Tom Donovan. You could convince me of Jerry Sloan though.
This guy, George Karl?
No, I don't think you could convince me with George Karl.
So here's what I Here's what I will say. Here's what I will say.
Ooh, that's close though.
It'd be hard not to have George Karl and have Rick Adelman in there.
Is George Karl in the Hall of Fame? And that's a legitimate question that I don't know the answer to.
I don't know.
I don't think that he is because I don't think he would have been inducted before he was the Kings coach.
Wow.
George Karl is not a Hall of Famer. He was first team All ACC in 1973, though. He was coach of the year in 2013. He was
George
CBA coach of the year in 1981-83. Mike Thibault was one of his assistants.
They need to get George Karl in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah?
Yeah. George Karl's a Hall of Fame culture. He's a Hall of Fame coach. And look, and I'm saying this out of reverence. I'm saying this out of respect. If Rick Adelman is in the Hall of Fame, George Karl needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
588 win percentage for George Karl. Let me take a quick peek here. Nothing more intriguing than researching while on the show. Rick Adelman, 582.
I say that because I feel like they're one and the same.
Rick never won Coach of the Year?
That's kind of crazy. That's crazy.
Is that
he didn't win
right?
in Sacramento.
Rick Adelman never won Coach of the Year.
Man.
Wow. He was WCC Player of the Year in 1968.
What school we go to?
2-time All WCC first team in 1967 and 68. He went to Chimakita Community College.
Wow. How do you get WCC Player of the Year there?
Oh, that's where he coached. Where did he play? Oh, he went to Loyola Marymount.
Okay, LMU.
Is that where he went?
LMU.
Well, yeah, it was called Loyola
It still
University
is.
of Los Angeles.
Oh, they changed the name. I didn't know that.
Now known as Loyola Marymount University.
LMU in the house.
He was selected by the San Diego Rockets in the 7th round of the NBA.
They did that thing like the NFL, boy. I tell you, back in the day.
Man.
David J. And we could talk about this
round.
more maybe during the break. David J. takes umbrage with the fact that we say Carlisle should not be in that group.
No, he's
if Carlisle was in that group, I would have no problem.
His winning percentage is a little bit lower. Like if you're going to use that as the example.
And like I said, he missed the playoffs for 4 or 5 years. Rick Alderman and George Karl never did that.
So if we added 5 coaches right now, who are we settling on?
Kerr, Spo, Pop,
Adelman.
I feel like the 5th would be Doc.
Boy, that's gonna get some. What about Sloan? What about Jerry Sloan?
Jerry Sloan is a good See,
Think about it.
That little crazy title that Doc Rivers has messes everything up.
It's the most coveted title in the history of the National Basketball Association. We'll come back. We'll talk more. It's D'Lo and KC here on Twitch, on YouTube, on the Odyssey app, and on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. Okay.
Would have been 3. Stop it.
No. We've never lost a series with our guys starting. Next day, Kendrick Perkins has been traded. Is it to the Thunder? Where did Perk go first? Was it the Thunder?
Yeah.
Oh, I disagree with this. I disagree with Doc underachieving. I think that Clippers team just was on the come up at the wrong time.
No. He messed that up. I'm not gonna say
he messed up.
I take that back. I rescind that. I'm not gonna say he messed that up, but that's a failure. That's a failure.
Is it?
Yeah. They should have won. They would have beat, in my opinion, the Warriors in 2015 if they didn't choke a 3-1 lead. Maybe that's the only time that he underachieved, so to speak. And you can make the argument he underachieved in the bubble too.
He sure did. Man.
People are really upset that we included I just saw David's I don't even know where this is coming from.
Here's a good one right here though. I mean, you look at that win percentage, very strong. He got to go in. And you might be right. Might be right, Brian.
Yeah.
That's
facts. People are upset, especially John and others. He's not alone. Let's say George Karl should be mentioned in this.
Okay.
Just because he rubbed almost everybody the wrong way.
Everybody.
I understand that, but the guy won basketball games, man.
That's why I always that's one of the things that's why I had a difficult time with, when we booked that interview. Was like, man, there are people that I'm close to that they do not like this dude at all. And I never had a crossword with him at all.
Right.
It was very much like, let's put on our professional hat. And that's so weird. Like I wasn't making that up. Look, like Rebecca Brunson added me to something while we were talking. I don't know. It says it's added me to. I don't even know WhatsApp is. I don't even think I knew I had that.
You're one of the greats, Rebecca. If you're listening right now, man, you're one of the greats. Hands down. Okay.
She sure did.
What was I looking at? I don't know. Some people just be too woke sometimes, man.
Facts. Facts.
Just be Too damn woke for their own good.
Yeah, there was a time I was like, yeah, this too. Someone died. I don't remember who. I just remember. Yep, this Twitter's too woke for me, man. I'm out. I'm out.
Oh, I'm that little mouse that walks in the door and then turns around and walks back out.
Appreciate you, Leezy. I'll look at that as soon as the show's over, man. Thank you for that. I'm anxious to. I've never seen that. I'm anxious to see that. Oh, that's an easy one. We could do that. I bet we could do that. But oh yeah. I remember when George Carl went at John Bull. But have a nice day, John.
That was funny. You're not alone, though, John. You're not alone.
Yeah, hit the show up on the phone lines too, man. Y'all quiet today. 916-349-1320. Hit the show up in the chat as well. Twitch.tv/ESPN1320. YouTube.com/ESPN1320. James Ham set to join us for his weekly visit coming up at 3:20 or maybe 3. I don't know. Hell, the James Ham show starts whenever the hell James Ham decides he wants the James Ham show to start. We spent over an hour with him, both on the radio and off last week, and it was fantastic. He was cutting. James was cutting loose last week, man. We had some fun. So James Ham will join us for his weekly visit. I think he mentioned this. I don't remember if we were on the air now. He's going on vacation next week, so we'll talk to James coming up at 3:20. As we shift, we really got lost in that conversation about the NBA 75. Yeah. That's gonna be fun. I remember the presentation for the 50 back in 1996, before Jesse was born, with the jackets.
Yeah, that was cool.
And the big presentation. I think it was at an All-Star game.
Yep, All-Star game in Cleveland.
Okay.
And the
why do you remember
show.
that? Like, why do you remember?
Because that was one of the great All-Star weekends of all time. That was it was the second or third rookie sophomore game, but it was AI, Kobe, Steve Nash. It was that game. Yeah. Kobe wins the slam dunk contest.
Your memory
Brandy's in the stands cheering for him because
it's prom date.
Yeah,
prom date.
Yeah, and then it was NBA 50. I think Jordan had a triple double in that All-Star game.
You know what? One of the worst here's one of my beefs with Rick Adelman, Hall of Fame.
Oh, wait, what?
And it's okay. To be fair, it's a beef
out here.
It's a beef with Kobe Bryant too. Jordan hits that shot in the All-Star game in the corner, and Rick Adelman calls timeout. Yeah, you should have just let the game end.
He shouldn't have done that.
Rick should have just let the game end. He calls timeout. I don't think Kobe's like running a play.
Yeah.
I think they're content with, like, again, Rick shouldn't have called timeout, but whatever. And then someone fouls Kobe, and Kobe was like,
wasn't it Kevin Garnett?
If you foul me, I'm just going to hit these free throws. But it started with Rick Adelman. Rick Adelman shouldn't have called timeout. And you know what makes me now different circumstances, completely different circumstances. You talk about the 96 All-Star game. My favorite All-Star game is the 92 All-Star game, the Magic.
Oh, yeah. Now,
it wasn't a close game at all, but Magic hits this fadeaway three while being guarded by, I can't remember if it was Isaiah or Michael.
Isaiah.
And then the game ends. There's like 20 seconds left or 30 seconds left or 40, whatever it is. But that shot goes in and everyone's like, it's over. We're not doing, like, the game is over at that point. Now, again, I get it. It wasn't a close game at that point. Like, it was a blowout. But that's what Rick, that game's over.
Yeah,
Michael hit the shot. Everybody knew it was Jordan's last All-Star game. Like, it's over.
that shot that Jordan hit, that was just nasty.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Nasty. I'm watching it right now. Yeah, he calls the time. Well,
and he very much had the you got to be kidding me look on his face when the game went to, because wasn't that overtime?
Overtime.
Did it go to
they were in overtime.
It went to a second overtime. Yeah.
So as I'm breaking down the film right now, I'm just gonna I can't, because I love them both. So maybe I'm not stalling anybody out. But Kobe called the timeout. Now Rick might have called it too.
It was Kobe?
Rick might have called it too. I don't know. But Kobe is absolutely signaling for a timeout.
Kobe.
Now, like I said, Rick may have called it. He may have seen Rick saying, hey, call timeout or whatever, and just did what Rick said to do. But Kobe it looks like he looked over at Rick. Rick probably was signaling for one. Because Jordan hits a shot, Kobe goes to walk down the floor, and he looks at the bench, and he probably saw Rick Adelman saying timeout. And then Kobe's like, timeout, timeout.
The call should have been, if anybody hits a shot, call timeout, except for Jordan.
Yeah.
If Jordan hits it, the game's over.
Or if you're a referee, just don't even pay attention to him.
It's be like, sorry, Rick, you're out. Game's over. Game's over.
Yeah. How was that Magic one you talked about, 92 in Orlando? That was a great one. That was a great All-Star game.
Yeah, I love that.
That was a great one. 96 is up there. 92, 96. For me, 88 was electric.
I think Tim Hardaway let Magic start that one, if I remember right. And then the just the moments at the end where Jordan moves somebody out of the way and he steps up to guard Magic, and the crowd gets up and they're going crazy. And then Isaiah does the thing on the other end. And I remember Jordan's like holding him, trying to keep him from getting the ball again. They just like lob it to him. He gets it. He takes two dribbles, like fades to the side and hits it. It's like, oh, come on.
One of the funny things about that to me is, if you ever look at the video, maybe you'll look at it during the break, but Isaiah is like isolated on Magic. He's like today, if Kyrie had the ball and he's going between the legs, and he's like, oh, he's sizing him up, and Isaiah's doing this little weak behind the back 2 times. It's like, that was handles back in the day. That's trash. I would have ripped that, Isaiah. What are you doing?
Oh yeah,
guys, you got to go check that out when you get a chance. What is Isaiah doing?
Yeah, it's good. Jesse's asking, is LeBron going to guard Kobe in his last season the best All-Star moment in recent memory? Yeah, that's up there. I don't feel like All-Star games have moments. Oh, I remember LeBron going to guard him. I remember that.
Where was it at?
I also remember Kobe. It wasn't the same All-Star game though. I think it was the one before where didn't Dwayne Wade bust his nose open?
Yeah, that was in Phoenix or Vegas.
That might have been. That was a couple of years before. When,
D-Wade, just another something else to put on his resume. You know how I feel about him.
Big D-Wade fan.
He's real sneaky.
D-Wade up there in the Kenny Power rankings with Dallas. Right up there, Dallas Mavericks and Dwayne Wade. I
don't even hate D-Wade. I just don't trust him. Just sneaky.
He is the what's Edge's nickname?
The radar superstar?
No, not that one.
Oh, the
ultimate opportunist.
Yeah, that's
Dwayne Wade.
That is 100% Dwayne Wade.
You're listening to D-Lo and KC, by the way, on ESPN 1320 KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, and Odyssey Station, and driven by Lashers, Elk Grove Dodge. We're live on twitch.tv/ESPN 1320, youtube.com/ESPN 1320. We're live on the Odyssey app anywhere in the world, and we're live on 1320 AM in Northern California. Wherever you're watching or listening, we appreciate you so much for being with us. You connect with the show there in the chat house on Twitch and YouTube. You could hit us on the phone lines, 916-349-1320, or you can hit us on any of our social media handles at D-Lo and KC or at ESPN 1320. That's good for both Twitter and Instagram. As we mentioned, James Ham going to join us a little bit over 1 hour from right now. The NFL season gets underway officially tomorrow. We'll make our Super Bowl predictions coming up on Friday. But let's make some other predictions because we've joked. Like, and when I say joke, it's kind of a joke, but not really a joke because it's real. We've joked about the MVP award already being given out in the NFL. We know who's the MVP. Like, we know whose it is to lose. Josh Allen. Like, he's the guy. Like, it's his MVP award to lose. And I think the Bills are going to be really good. I think Josh Allen is going to be really good. But if I ask you to make a prediction on the NFL's most valuable player right now, would you pick Josh Allen?
Yeah, probably so.
Can I throw another name at you that I think you give him? I was going to say 3 or 4 weeks of traction, and
Trey Lance.
Trey, that's obvious. Like it's right up there with Davion Mitchell being NBA 75. Yeah, that's accurate. We'll go Trey. I was thinking quarterback. I was thinking a different quarterback. Okay. Of course, the league MVP is actually a quarterback award. Unofficially, it's a
best quarterback in the league.
It's going to take a big week 1 performance, but Baker Mayfield.
He's lurking around there.
I think he doesn't have Josh Allen levels of hype because I don't think people quite believe in him like they believe in Josh Allen. But I mean, you can't make a bigger impact than beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, you could do it by beating the Bucks, but you in the AFC at least you can't make a bigger impact than beating the Kansas City Chiefs in week 1. He goes out there, has a solid performance. If we could get Odell involved and prove that Odell Beckham Jr. isn't the reason that the Cleveland Browns lose football games, man, I think there could be some rumblings for Baker Mayfield. There could be some noise.
See, the thing with Baker is I'm not sure. And that's a solid call. Like I see it. I'm not sure he's going to have the numbers to win MVP.
What I fear with Baker, and I kind of fear this with the Browns. So do you think that because of Baker Mayfield, the quarterback, or do you think that because of Baker Mayfield, like Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are going to be huge parts? Okay.
A little bit of both. I mean, last year you look at his numbers, 35, 63 with 26 touchdowns and 8 picks. Very good. He was good. I think it's going to have to be more than that to win.
Well, can you if you have his yearly numbers in there, can you go back to his rookie year?
His rookie year, what did he do?
They're not insane numbers.
Yeah, like 37, 25, 27 touchdowns, 14 picks. Ironically enough, in that year that we all think was trash by him, he was 38, 27, 22 touchdowns, 21 interceptions. At 21
so
interceptions.
It's just the interceptions that killed him.
Yeah.
Which, if you read enough, it was just because he kept trying to throw the ball to Odell Beckham Jr., and that's the only reason he was throwing interceptions.
It's all Odell's fault. That's why Odell needs to come to San Francisco. They don't appreciate you. They don't appreciate you, Odell.
I'm glad we're back to that. 916-349-1320. Let's get to the phone lines, I think, for the first time today. 916-349-1320. It is Ray. Ray, what's good, baby?
Hi, what's up, you guys?
Ray, what's up, man?
What, dude? I just want to call. First thing, I love your guys' show, man. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, brother.
I listen to you on my commute all the time. I love your energy. It's legit. I don't agree with everything, but I do agree with a lot of what you guys say.
That's all good, man. It's all good. Thank you.
Hey, real quick, why don't you like D Wade, man? That's one of my most favorite guys.
D Wade, man. I'm gonna tell you this, Ray. I'm gonna tell you this, Ray. I've been paying attention to D Wade, man, for a long time, and just the way he moves, like we said, ultimate opportunist.
He doesn't. I think what Kenny's saying, Ray, is he doesn't always trust Dwayne Wade's intentions.
Yeah,
it's not about the ball player.
No, he can go.
It's not about the basketball player. The basketball player, he's legit.
Absolutely.
I think Casey's got some concern about his intentions.
It's always a little shady, Ray. It's also a little shady. It's a little convenient. I don't know. I just get a bad vibe from D Wade.
Yeah, we're familiar with shady behavior.
I love it.
You got it.
Hey, one other thing too, you guys. I'm a huge Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan.
Okay.
Forever. I'm just gonna say this, man, real quick. My boy Devin White, if he can stay healthy, Defensive Player of the Year. The kid is a nightmare.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey, great to hear from you, Ray Ray. We appreciate that.
Ray. Call in more often, man.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Boy, who was it? Oh, Poker Pro, Eric. Poker Pro gonna be all over him for that if he stays healthy. Because Poker Pro, you're not allowed to say that. Not allowed to say if a
Poker
guy
Pro
stays
gets
healthy.
so upset.
I think you heard Ray Ray too. D Wade, one of Ray Ray's favorite players.
But, I mean, he's a good ball player. He's one of the great ball players we've ever seen.
He's great.
One of the great ball players you've ever seen. Absolutely.
I'm fearful with Cleveland that they're like feast or famine. Like either they're gonna live up to the hype and be 12-5, 13-4, something like that, or they're going to be like the total opposite.
So like 5-12. I don't see them being like that. I could see them being 12-5 or like 8-9. I think they got enough talent to not fall off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to fall off the face of the earth. They're too talented to fall off. I mean, again, we mentioned these names. I'm anxious. They are a team I'm excited to watch. I think that's one of the better games of week one that I'll really be locked into, obviously outside of the 49ers and the Lions, but the Browns and the Chiefs, to open things up.
That's a real good one.
It's like, okay, Cleveland, like that you're being talked about like you're one of the big boys now. You made the playoffs last year. It was a great story. Everything Cleveland did last year was great.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen got his contract extension. We've talked about this. Josh Allen got his contract extension. Baker didn't. Lamar didn't. I think those two teams look at those quarterbacks going, show me a little bit more.
I can believe that.
And our man, our friend from Cleveland, boy, quick side, House Party is on Netflix. I
saw your story yesterday. I was like, what channel was that on? Where's that at?
A public service announcement for everybody. House Party is on Netflix, and there's a line that when Robin Harris goes to answer the phone, blah, well, whatever your name is, what you want? Here. Oh, why they get that boy that African name, knowing they from Cleveland? That's my favorite line. That's what I say to Io. They don't want to get that boy that African name, knowing they from Cleveland. He's funny. A Cleveland dude. And
that's funny. Man,
he is all in on.
He should be very excited about the prospects of what the Browns could be. Absolutely. Let me ask you a question though.
But he's all in on Baker Mayfield though. Like
I
give Baker
the
bag.
Well, I mean, you got to think about what he's seen. You got to think about what Io and the rest of the Browns fans have seen. This is the only guy to get it done. Pay him. We'll take our chances. I can understand that. All right. I got a question because I got sidetracked with that info.
Can you hold it for 1 second?
Yeah.
We got Poker Pro's calling in.
Caller, let's go.
Poker Pro the caller, not the same as Poker Pro the chatter. What's up, E?
Well, let's start things on a lighter note. House Party probably as a kid introduced me to the culture. So it was,
very good.
It really was a great introduction. And I don't know about you, my favorite kid play movie was actually Class Act.
Yeah, Class Act. That's a lot of people have made that argument in recent weeks about Class Act probably being second. If you talk House Party 1, 2, and 3 in Class Act, and Class Act is probably second in that list.
Correct. I think you got that. If you do rankings of the NBA players, you got to do rankings of kids players.
So we do is rankings over here.
That's legit.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's perfect. You slot Class Act in number 2.
I do think the Pajama Jammy Jam deserves a little bit more love. That's all right.
All right. Stick around after your call, Eric. We're gonna have a conversation because you didn't brought this into my head about 5 minutes ago. So okay. All right.
What else you got, E?
Let's talk about quarterback rankings now, because I think I'm unfairly getting labeled a Jimmy G stan over here, and I'm not really a 49ers fan, but I do enjoy the fact that Jimmy G wins in New England, gets traded 3-4 years ago over to San Francisco, goes like 6-0 out the gate, and comes back, has another good year. Yeah, he got hurt a few times, but I think the NFL, when I hear the phrase "if he stays healthy," I think that's used in any sport but the NFL, because the NFL is such a vicious sport that even guys who are considered durable can take one hit or one something, knee get twisted, unlike other sports where, like Anthony Davis, where basketball is not as vicious a sport. When Anthony Davis is constantly hurt, or Marvin Bagley constantly hurt, that's more of a ongoing thing. Where football, when Jimmy G had his ACL tear a few years ago, I just didn't like that he was trying to run for that first down, get those extra yards to the quarterback. But it's a brutal sport. Anybody, Patrick Mahomes had an injury last year in those 2 games. Like, of course, it's not you guys. I'm not, I've heard on 30. I listen to more sports talk radio than any person in Sacramento. I don't know if that's a good thing or sad or pathetic or what, but in a lot of decades. And there are 30, 40, 50 other stations that say the exact term you did, if he stays healthy. Well, no duh. I mean, that's the obvious truth. So, Jimmy G, he is the starting quarterback, and anyone out there as a Niners fan, you should be rooting for your guy to stay healthy, not rooting for Trey Lance to get his run in his rookie year when we've seen that a lot of rookie quarterbacks, face out and do nothing. So I'm not a Jimmy G stan, but I am going to root for Jimmy G to have a great year. So I think Kenny's on that train too.
Yeah. No doubt. Shout out to Poker Pro, man.
There's a lot I learned in there. One, we're not special to him, which that hurts a little bit. Two, House Party introduced him to the culture. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
Because I know when I think culture, I think Poker Pro Eric. So I'm glad that he had that introduction from Kid and Play. That's good. That's good stuff right there.
And I agree with him. I mean, it all goes without saying. That's like, if I understand what he's saying. If I was like, I think Jimmy G is going to be good. If he's alive for the whole season, I think he's going to be good. Like, I don't have to say if he's alive all year, right? So I
Kyle
get it.
had to.
Yeah, well, that's why
we're
he's
all alive.
That's why he's a genius. He doesn't look over the little things.
I don't know how feasible this is with the manpower of ESPN 1320. If we could just dig up the pre-draft stuff on Kyle Shanahan from Kenny, if there's like a Hey Siri, pull up the Kyle Shanahan stuff from Kenny Caraway. Oh, it'd be spectacular.
See, the thing about it is, I always said if he goes with Mac Jones.
You did. But you were convinced for weeks he was going to.
Yeah.
Your beard turned gray in the weeks leading up to the draft.
I had a gray hair here in my beard that I don't think is there anymore.
It's a Mac Jones leftover.
Yeah, I don't know.
How you gonna feel? I got a Mac Jones related question that we'll get to in a second because I want to get to Sam right now. 916-349-1320. What's up, Sam?
What's going on, fellas? How's the world treating you?
Fantastic.
Good, right on. Hey, real quick, I got to set the record straight. I think I got beef with Poker Pro Eric.
Oh, no.
Seriously, I listen to more sports talk than anybody. I don't think so, bro. I think I am more pathetic. So take that, Poker Pro. Not gonna have that. Anyway, wanted to talk to the Niners. First of all, got a question. What's the story with Javon Kinlaw?
So I know he was having some knee irritation during training camps, and they were kind of giving him a load management type deal with how much they made him practice and all this other stuff. The last I heard of Javon Kinlaw, I heard he was feeling good. He was good to go. That was maybe about a week or two ago. That was the last I heard of it. So I think I'm going to roll with that. I feel like Javon Kinlaw played in that Raiders game. He hadn't played all preseason. I feel like he played in that Raiders game. And it was like, oh, Kinlaw's out there. So I think he'll be good to go on Sunday. I'll say that, Sam.
Okay. Well, I think we got good depth there, so I'm not really worried. I was just kind of curious. Some things I'm looking for, and then I'll give you my big prediction here. I'm curious to see what our special teams and return game is going to look like. Hoping to be a little more explosive and be able to maybe switch some field position up this year. Interested to see what our depth on offensive line looks like.
Hopefully we don't need to see that.
Well, true. Yeah, good point. Good point there. Overall, really happy with the roster. Not really sold on Jalen Hurd, but I guess we're going to find out.
I'm not sure that you are. I'm not sure that you are, Sam. I'm not sure he's going to make it out for a few more weeks.
I don't get it, but hey, they see something there that I don't see, and they see them every day, so we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking if everything breaks right, first of all, I think we could be a 10-7 team this year. And I say that mainly because of the division, because I don't think anybody in that division is going to have a real impressive record this year. I just think it's going to be a lot of war of attrition type games. And, by the way, I do think 10-7 is going to be good enough for us to move into some postseason play. So,
okay.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. It's interesting. I'm not as sold on the Rams as everybody else. I still think Seattle's always a team you got to keep an eye out for. It never seems to matter what their roster is. They just seem to have that ability to find a way to get it done.
Yeah, they're sneaky. They're like the D Wade of the NFL.
Okay. Sam, we appreciate you as always, my friend. And kudos to Sam, who went with the 10-7 record. And for people who can, throw out a record and immediately 17 games, not 16, 17 games, not 16, 17 games, not 16. He talks about interesting. One thing that it will be interesting to see how big of a difference that one game winds up being. Like, is 10-7 enough to get into a playoff spot this year? We'll talk more football. we dabbled in the league MVP conversation. We'll talk more about that. And bruh, I found the perfect article for you. We were joking about those comments on the Ben Simmons, the YouTube video with Matt George, and about like the way fans talk about their team and the way journalists talk about the teams that they cover. I found the perfect article for this. It's about the 49ers and their opponents. Oh my. Oh, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. We've got that coming up here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. Hey, you wonder you going to be talking about any announcers?
No. No, that is not in this 13th round. And welcome to the 13th round. It's your man, Kenny Caraway. Shout out to my people over at Meister. You see, I got another Meister watch up in here, man. They always looking out, taking care of the kid, man. So shout out to my people at Meister Watches. But I wanted to talk today about something that I heard earlier today. And it's just interesting. First of all, I'm always aware because I try to be fair. I try to look at it, reasonably. And I try not to look at it from a biased perspective. It's just boxing. I like PBC and all these guys, but they're not paying me. You know what I mean? I don't get no money from them. I don't get no enjoyment if they have all the good fights and nobody else does or nothing like that. I just want to see the best boxing. But Deontay Wilder, he did a podcast the other day, and he said, quote, they're trying to run away from it, talking about Tyson Fury's COVID postponement. They're trying to run away from it. I'm running to it. I don't believe he had COVID. I know he wasn't doing well in camp. The young guys were piecing him up. I had a young guy from my camp who was piecing him up, end quote. And like I said, I try not to be biased. I try to, be fair and not always agree with PBC or anything like that. But I agree with Deontay Wilder. I believe him. Now, anything could happen. Anything could happen. I could be wrong. He could have really had COVID. But I don't think he had COVID. It's not above him and Bob Arum to lie, to do something shady. That's what they've been doing for years now. And if you look at the way he was moving before that and the postponement, he was out everywhere. He's at everybody's fights, and he's, tapped in on the YouTube and all this other stuff. Since then, you don't hear from Tyson Fury. He's out there actually getting the work in now. Before he wasn't working. He wasn't ready. And I don't know if that means that Deontay would have beat him then or he's going to beat him now. I don't know nothing about that. I'm just telling you, I agree with Deontay Wilder. I don't believe him. I don't believe that he had COVID. And I don't think that he was ready. And he used that excuse to get more time. We're going to talk a whole lot about Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder because I got a whole lot to say on the 13th round. I'm gonna let you be surprised. Go see what Triller is doing for the Holyfield fight. Yeah, that's wild. That is wild. The fact that they were like, "Yeah, let's do this. It's a good idea." Crazy. And they got that other little weirdo Jim Lampley out there too. Yeah, that should have happened. That should have happened. That's actually on my list of. I might have to send you the link, Jesse. I got all the greatest fights from Ali Frazier 1 to today on a YouTube playlist, and that's the one that I'm on right now. Is Holyfield Tyson 1 is the next one I'll be watching. Yeah, I got you. There's probably about 80 fights on there.
I think, and I only looked into it once. I think ESPN Plus has a bunch of fights on it.
They do. They got a ton of them. See, the thing with all the ESPN Plus is on, and I guess you could piece it all together if you wanted to, is they only have the fights that they promoted, right? So they only have top rank fights on there.
I gotcha.
And Top Rank was, I thought they promoted a lot of the great fights, of all time. So you can get a whole lot of them through the ESPN Plus. But for instance, once Mayweather left, they don't have none of Mayweather's fights after he left Top Rank. So.
One of the beauties about twitch.tv/ESPN1320 and youtube.com/ESPN1320 will help you go subscribe to those channels. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up. I often have to beg for likes over there on YouTube, but I'm not above it. We've got our exclusive shows over there, including the house show. It's 3 minutes on professional wrestling coming up in about 30 minutes. And the 13th round, which just wrapped up, which I often miss.
2 minutes and 20 minutes. 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Well, that's because
Twitter people.
You have made the decision to make it Twitter size, whereas I'm focused on YouTube. Right. And I was disappointed to find out. That you weren't talking about the fact Evander Holyfield is fighting, and who the announcers are for that particular fight. However, I'll tell you, and Kenny's well aware of this. I'll share this with everybody else. I think we mentioned this on the show yesterday. Our man Rick Ross put out his a new book called Boss Up, and I read his other book Hurricane, and listened to it, and it's that's very it's an autobiography. Mm-hmm. This book is about his business ventures and why he moves the way he does, how he moves the way that he does, what led him to owning 25 wing stops. What led him to, partnering up. I'd actually just got to the part where he's talking about partnering with Brett and what he thought of Brett the first time he saw him. And it's fantastic. And the way he describes how that partnership came together and how Brett, they had met in 2012 when Luke Belair had just launched, and Rick loved the bottle. And I think he told us this story when he joined us. He loved that black bottle. And Brett was like, yeah, we're going to slow play this though. And they didn't form a partnership for almost a year.
Wow.
So Rick was like, yeah, cool, whatever. And he just starts promoting the hell out of Luke Belair. And he just starts promoting it on his own for free. And that's kind of how the partnership, eventually came to be. I think it was a year later. But what I wanted to bring to your attention was he spends a decent amount of time talking about the acquisition of the Promised Land, the 200 some odd acre estate that he has in Fayetteville, Georgia, which Kenny and I, of course, had the opportunity to visit. And he was talking about how at the beginning of the pandemic, that's when he, if you follow Rick Ross on social media, if you follow him particularly on Instagram, you've seen him drive tractors around and he cuts the lawn on his property. That's not a show or an endorsement or a client thing. Yeah. That's his way of chilling. Yeah. He drives that thing around the estate. He was telling this story about how, and he goes into how Evander Holyfield and how essentially how Evander Holyfield lost the house and all of the wrong moves Evander Holyfield made when he was making money.
Yeah.
And how Rick was like, I am never, ever, ever going to do that. He talks about when he got his advance from Def Jam, he didn't spend it. He was like, I'm going to pretend like that doesn't exist, and I'm going to start building and building and building. But he talks about, he was like, he finds this barn. He was like, I don't think I've been in this barn since, the day I bought it. Like 6 years ago. And he goes into it and sees that it's like it was the place that Evander used to train at.
Oh, wow.
And like he goes into what he what he wants to do with it, and
wow.
I told Kenny, like when Kenny and I talk every morning. I told Kenny when I called him, I was like, hey fam, beware. I was listening to Ricky Rose's book this morning. I'm about to hit you up with 47 ideas we got to get done. By the way, John Bull, if you're still listening, I'm gonna hit you up, man, because we got some things
got to be made.
We've got some things that we've got to do here in the very, 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 very near future.
One of the times to speak to that just a little bit, and like I said, you follow. I got to get the book. I got to,
It's quick. It's like the book's like. I think I got 20 minutes left in it. I listened to it all this morning. Like 3 hours.
Rose's the man for things of that nature. But I remember I follow him on Instagram. I remember I was watching one of his stories, and this is inspirational to me, and it should be inspirational to everybody. He is like, sometimes, this is Rick Ross in the Promised Land saying this. And he's like, sometimes you gotta sit back, take some time out to think about, what's been going on lately, this last week or 2 weeks or whatever. You got to be real with yourself, and you got to be like, I'm not doing enough.
Mm-hmm.
I could be doing more. I'm doing all right, but I'm not doing enough. And that's, to me, that spoke to me. That's real. Like, yeah, I'm doing cool. I think about it with this show or whatever. People give us accolades and we appreciate them and the well wishes. But there's so much more that you and I feel that we can do with this show and with this station. It's like, and sometimes because we're humans, we'll have a week where we just kind of slack off, and we just kind of, and you got to be real with yourself and be like, I was slacking last week. I'm not doing enough. I got to do more. I got to recommit myself. Little stuff like that, man. And it's like hearing that from somebody in the midst of, this great influential career. That's like, you're right. If Rick Ross is like, I ain't doing enough, Kenny Caraway need to be like, man, I ain't doing enough.
And it's never slacking for what we do from 12 to 4. That's the fun part. We always gonna be locked in. It's the stuff at 4:01 where Jesse always does his part, and there are these videos. Like, how many videos did we get on YouTube the other day? Like, not the show. Right. How many clips did we put up on YouTube? Did we get James Ham's show out there? Did we promote it? Did we get, the interview with Matt George or Jason Anderson? Did we get these clips cut? Did we put them out there? Did we engage on social media? How locked in? We feel like we're locked in with the Kings fan base. Like, are we locked in with the 49ers fan base? Right. No? Cool. We're going to launch Game Day with Kenny Caraway this week. Like, yo, there's nothing that you could want in Northern California sports that you're not going to get from Philo and KC.
That's facts. Nothing. Like, we got it all. And in my humble opinion, you're not going to get it better than right here. Philo and KC, ESPN 1320, but a whole bunch of other things that we get. I'm just confident in how we do things, man. I like the way we do things over here. That's all.
I look at what, and that's the beauty, man. I just look at what all of you have helped us build. Like, because it's just us. Like, Bart Scott ain't helping. Like, Jay Williams and Mike Greenberg, they ain't helping build ESPN 1320.
Yeah.
Like, they got 47 TV shows to do. Like, it's the folks listening on 1320. It's the folks listening on the Odyssey app. It's the people who have hit the heart button, the subscribe button, the thumbs up button, all of that different stuff, man. You've helped us. And it's cool. Like, there's a line that I think Brett Barish uses for one of his shows, but it's a line in Rose's book where, man, self-made tastes better. And we've got Odyssey with us, and we've got ESPN and all of that. But the fact is, this was a station airing syndicated programming with no YouTube channel, no local content, no nothing. And I can tell you, having been on both sides, self-made does taste better.
Yes.
It tastes a lot better, man.
Yes.
So it's
I like the way this tastes.
Yeah, no. No.
You're not feeling that Ricky Rose that I put out here for the people.
It's not bad though. It's not bad. The one thing I don't like about the audiobook is Rick doesn't read it. So the guy
I thought I was gonna get it in the Ross voice.
The guy who reads it tries to do what you just did. And he does good. Like,
for real?
No, he does a good job. Like, I don't want to make it sound like I'm knocking him. Like, he does a really good job because I think he read Rick's first book too. And I was reading. So I don't know how many of you are fans of like audiobooks, but I read the 2 Rick Ross books and they were performed, or listened to the 2 Rick Ross books. They were performed by this guy. And if it's not read by the author, the performer is a really, really big deal in the book.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching Snowfall, I told you about. So I'm like, yo, I'm gonna read or listen to Freeway, Rick Ross's book. Because I was watching Snowfall, I was like, this is about that Rick Ross. So I was like, I'm gonna read his book. So I don't know how to say this delicately, but the guy who reads it might not be for the culture. And every time he says a certain word, because he's reading the book verbatim. So every time he says a certain word, I'm hearing a little too much R and not enough A. And I'm like, I don't think I can listen to this.
Man.
And I had to turn the book off.
Yikes.
It was tough. It was tough.
So when I went down to Pico and Crenshaw, it was my peeps hanging over there, and we had some baddies over there.
It wasn't that bad, but you're not far off. Appreciate Matt George jumping here in the chat suggesting that was if Matt George read a book about Freeway Rick Ross, it would sound exactly like the book that's on Audible right now. I was just like, this is uncomfortable, man. I'm turning this off. Like, I know that word doesn't have an R in it. I know what you see, but that's not what's there. That is not what's
that's
there.
wild. That's wild right there, boy. That's wild. Somebody got to listen to that before it gets out to the
somebody quality control should have been like, we might have signed this book to somebody else. We just gonna go ahead and get a.
You know what? We still gonna pay you. It's just not gonna work. You're gonna get paid, but we're gonna have somebody else do the version.
We're gonna try something different. Nothing different in the college football rankings is Alabama sits upon the top of the top 25. Georgia right behind them at number 2 after their victory over Clemson. Ohio State at number 3. Oklahoma, Texas A&M. Clemson only falls to number 6. Cincinnati, Notre Dame, Iowa State, and Iowa round out the top 10.
Hey, no, Michigan getting in that top 25. You know what I'm saying? No. Michigan should be up in there. North Carolina should be out, and Michigan should be at least in the top 25, man. Stop hating.
I'm fine with North Carolina being out. Michigan doesn't need to be in there. Let win a couple of games first in a row.
Do you you know who is ranked? Who wasn't ranked? The UCLA Bruins.
Yeah, I mean, they deserve
16th,
it.
Yeah.
They deserve it. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to pose this question. Side eye me. Is Chip Kelly turning things around?
He might.
We've always believed that Chip Kelly is a college coach. Like, this is his bag. This is what he does. NFL, not it. College, his thing.
Off the top of my head, and I don't know what the record was last year or whatever. I thought Chip Kelly was doing pretty good. Not last year with no fans. The year before. I thought he was doing some things. He was laying the foundation to be able to build something. And I mean, maybe it's coming into fruition now. Maybe it's all coming together this year. I'm not saying they're going to college football playoff, but I don't know how many games they got on the schedule. Let's say 12, a 9-3. I don't think that's crazy for Chip Kelly and UCLA. That's pretty good.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Yes.
That's huge, and the Pac-12 needs it.
It definitely needs it.
The Pac-12 very, very much needs.
It definitely needs
that to happen.
And you know what? You know, as a small, quote unquote, small market, I don't think Sacramento's a small market, but like we hate when people talk about, oh, they need this team to win. Pac-12 needs Los Angeles, whether it's USC, UCLA, or both. The Pac-12 definitely needs Los Angeles. Like, it does nothing, in my opinion, for the Pac-12 if Utah is winning that conference. Okay? Like, and they need LA. They need LA bad. So if they can get USC and UCLA being good in that conference, that would be huge.
Boy, if that NIL don't help UCLA and USC, nothing will.
Nothing will. Well, you see, is it no coincidence why UCLA is doing as well as they are to start off the season?
I mean,
you get that jump, man, and then all of a sudden we 2-0 smacking up Coach Ed.
Well, it's certainly an upgrade, and yeah, LSU is trash. Like LSU and Ed Orgeron are LSU and Ed Orgeron in name alone. That program is trash right now. But you're right. I'm completely on it. But what were they? Were they Under Armour or Adidas? They're kind of one and the same. Under Armour and Adidas. It might as well be the same thing. Like, it doesn't matter.
At one point last year, I think maybe the year before, they just didn't give a damn. They had Under Armour jerseys. Guys were wearing Adidas shoes, Jordans, Nikes. They just didn't. They're like, who cares? And that boy Mike came in there and just cleaned it all up. Said, "I got you." Along with Russ, that was also brokered by Russ. Because that's the alma mater. Shout out, why not? And they 2-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Giants won last night. We're just going to kind of leave that there for right now and revisit it later. We'll revisit it later. I can't let this slide. James Ham's going to join us. Go ahead.
Bookmark. I got something I can't let slide later either too, but it can wait. But just bookmark what I want to ask you.
Okay. I don't know what you want to ask me.
Just say, remember you wanted to ask me something, I'll remember it.
Now I'm looking at my notepad. There was something I wanted to ask you.
Damn it. Did we even do show notes today?
We bookmark way too much stuff on this damn program. I got like a list of things that I need to ask you right now. We were talking about quarterback. We were talking about Baker Mayfield earlier. We were going to like predict MVPs and all this stuff, but then we launched into a conversation about Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, all of these different things. I wanted to ask you, Jimmy Garoppolo starting week 1. We kind of know that. We don't really know what Trey Lance's role is going to be. He was throwing. He's probably going to be active, but he was practicing today. But we know who's starting in New England. Yes. Are you going to feel any kind of way if Mac Jones goes out there and throws for like 304?
No, because so here's the deal. I know you got a little emotional and all this other stuff. But, Damien, you can co-sign this. I never not once said Mac Jones is a bad quarterback.
Nope. You didn't want Mac Jones at 3.
I didn't want him at 3. I like some of the things he do. He could be a good quarterback. He has some skill sets or whatever. But if you're talking about drafting the prospect, I'm taking Trey Lance over Mac Jones, and I'm going to take my chances with that. And I still feel that way, and I still feel that Mac Jones isn't like a bad quarterback. I think he's good. So if he goes out and lights it up and does really well, not surprised. And I don't feel no type of way. It's like, okay, you got a nice little situation, and he's playing well.
I think he's going to play well. I don't know that he's going to throw for 300 yards or 4 touchdowns, but I've told you before. I think the Patriots are going to play well. I don't know what that means. I haven't decided what play well means. I don't know if I'm on the 9-8, right?
Yeah.
17. Yeah, 9-8. I don't know if I'm on 9-8. I don't know if I'm something higher. Like we were talking about feast or famine with Cleveland. Yeah. I think the same is true for Miami. I feel like Miami might be a feast or famine. Like could Miami be an in-between team?
Can they be a 9-8? Is what you're thinking? Yeah. They could be. I could see that.
5-12 or 12-5.
Anything is possible with Miami. I agree with you. They are. I could see anything happening. I'm a believer of that team, not in like their AFC Championship game, but I think they'll be good enough to make the playoffs this year.
Okay. Yeah, oh man, I'm stuck on that one. I'm really stuck on that one. Okay, let's get to this. This is hilarious. This is fantastic.
Can't wait for this.
Shout out to our man Kyle Matson for putting this together. I got to shoot Kyle a note. We got to get Kyle in here on
Friday. Yeah, we got to get big week one blowout here. We got to get Kyle in here.
Week one blowout, you say?
No, we like blowout for the Friday show is like a big blowout for week one.
Because I thought you might have meant blowout against the Lions.
It better be.
Well,
let me tell you right now. It better be.
So, you know how we often ask ourselves as it pertains to the Sacramento Kings, and the same is true for the San Francisco 49ers, but you know how we often ask ourselves, like, and I think I asked you this yesterday about the Kings. Are we overvaluing them? Like, are we doing a little too much? We spend a lot of time diving into Davion Mitchell. Do we spend time talking about Mo Harkless and Terrence Davis and Freeport Metu? And, you know, we run over the two-way players, all these different things. And we really, they're better than people think. We're not getting enough love. Again, credit to Kyle Matson who thought, you know what I'm going to do? Getting ready for week one of the NFL season. I'm going to talk to, of course, Kyle's over at NinersWire.com. He does a tremendous amount of writing covering the San Francisco 49ers. He says, I'm going to reach out to the guys who cover each of the 49ers opponents and have them, hey, give me your thoughts on the game. Just a short little 2-sentence, 3-sentence thing. Only one team didn't respond on the whole schedule. That? Well, it was the Bears. Oh. Bears writers didn't respond.
Wow. That sounds like some Chicago nonsense right there, to be honest with you.
So, according to the people who cover these teams, again, one has no idea what the other one is doing. The Lions are going to beat the 49ers 17-16. Hang on. The Eagles are going to beat the 49ers 24-21 in week 2. The Packers are going to beat the 49ers 27-23. The Seahawks are going to beat the 49ers 10-9.
Oh, gosh.
The Cardinals are going to beat the 49ers 33-28. The Colts are going to beat the 49ers 19-17. The 49ers, according to the folks who cover these teams, they're going to start 0-6. They're going to start their season 0-6. We're going to skip right past the Chicago Bears, who didn't interact, but they go on a 3-game winning streak after this, and they beat the Cardinals 27-24. They beat the Rams. They beat the Jaguars. These according to the people who cover these teams. And then we got another losing streak coming up with the Vikings beating the San Francisco 49ers. We've got the Seahawks beating the 49ers again. And all the way here, week 16, I guess it would be week 17, second to last week. The Houston Texans, so this guy actually wrote this. The Houston Texans are going to beat the San Francisco 49ers 23-21 with whoever their backup quarterback is. According to these writers, again, excluding the Chicago Bears who didn't respond, the 49ers are going to finish 4-12.
That is hilarious. That is funny.
Bruh, how incredible is that?
That is some funny stuff, man. I just look, man, when it comes to the Niners, when it comes to the way people feel about, oh, they should win this game, you know, against our team, whatever the case may be. Hey, man, they can think whatever they want. The good thing is that we get to play. We get to watch them play. So that's the good thing. But that is hilarious that everybody thinks, the Niners is the game that that we can win. That's the game we can get.
I text Kyle at 5:30 in the morning when I saw this, like, bruh, that Texans dude couldn't wait to get that takeoff. He's like, I am firing this one out there into the universe. The Texans might not win a game all year.
Bro, the Lions guy, though. The Lions guy, like, yo, we're about to get this.
Every game is close, by the way. I don't know if you picked up. Like I got the scores for all of them. Every game on the 49ers schedule this year is a one-score game.
Hey, man, I know this is a new year, but the Lions gave up almost 33 points a game last year, and they're going to hold the Niners to 17.
16, actually, because it's the Lions that score 17. They're going to win 17-16.
Boy, Well, Floyd said it. I didn't say it.
Boy, these kids are some circus clowns.
I could not wait to share this with you when I found it.
Well, the Lions and the Texans one is crazy. The Cardinals one actually makes me laugh too. Them Cardinals, I think they in for a rude awakening this year. I really do.
Okay, let's hit the pause button.
I think they in for a rude awakening.
You said this
I
last
think they're
year.
gonna be really good.
You were really not feeling the way people were talking about the Cardinals last year, and then they come out week 1 and beat the 49ers.
But also after week 1, I told everybody what was going to happen. I said I looked at the schedule. I was like, the Cardinals are probably going to be like 5-2, 6-2. They're going to have a really good start to the season. I don't think they're making the playoffs. And that's what happened.
Well, they were 8-8, right? Oh, for goodness sakes! He's patting himself on the back.
They messed around and lost to C.J. Beathard.
Oh, yikes! Speaking of patting yourself on the back, Paul Pierce does that pretty regularly when talking about himself or the Boston Celtics 2008 NBA championship. But he said something interesting, believe it or not. He said something interesting in a recent article, not on a recent video, but in a recent article that I thought, man, if this had happened, how much would it have changed the NBA? I'm going to throw this at you when D'Lo and KC return. We got James Ham coming up in about 30 minutes on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. I think the background noise was Jazz. Is Jazz working?
Oh, no, it might have been my mom. She's here.
Oh.
Jesus. I'm telling her, pipe down. Is that what you heard, like a woman talking to you?
Yeah. I thought it was Jazz working.
We gonna tell her to pipe down.
No, that didn't come from us. Black Bottles, what's up, baby? Welcome
Black
back.
Bottles, what's good, boy?
Yeah, we were talking about you earlier, man. We missed you.
Yes, indeed.
We did some damage this weekend.
Did we? Did we?
We did some damage. I'm gonna need an advance. Black Bottles. I'm gonna need an advance because, woo, boy,
we was hitting them bottles.
Yeah, man.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Let's get in here. Let's see. We got the house show. Where we at? And boom. Okay. Couple of things here. So I see this. Goodness gracious. I see this news about Triple H. So I guess Triple H went into cardiac arrest today. Is this right? Yeah. Breaking news. Triple H. WWE issued the following statement regarding Paul Triple H Levesque. Paul Levesque underwent a successful procedure last week at Yale New Haven Hospital following a cardiac arrest. The episode was caused by a genetic heart issue, and Paul is expected to make a full recovery. That's the end of the statement. All right. I'm not a Triple H hater by any means, and certainly you don't wish those types of things on anybody at all. So all the best to Triple H. Hopefully he recovers and is back at 100% here pretty soon. That's not what we were going to talk about on today's house show, but we certainly wanted to acknowledge it. Wanted to talk about is the buzz that was created on the internet yesterday, and I wonder how much we're going to see this. Kevin Owens' contract is coming up in the WWE, and I think the surprising part to Kevin Owens and to the people who cover professional wrestling was that the contract is coming up almost a year earlier than anyone thought that it was. They thought it was extended till 2023, and the way that Dave Meltzer and a number of other reporters wrote about it was apparently the WWE, and this shows you what a trash company they can be at times. Apparently they restructured a bunch of contracts at the beginning of the pandemic. Now, we'll save that conversation for another day, but now all of a sudden Kevin Owens is going to be available to hit the market in about 4 months. And this isn't 90-day no compete clause. Like once the contract expires, similar to what we saw with Adam Cole signed a short-term extension to get through that program with Kyle O'Reilly. He didn't have to adhere to a 90-day no compete clause. He just contract ran out and he was ready to go to work. Normally you have to go by the 90-day no compete clause if you get a future endeavor. So we're looking at a few months where Kevin Owens could be popping up in AEW. another thing similar to Daniel Bryan, like he could be willingly popping up in AEW, not because he gets these future endeavors, not because WWE doesn't want him, because he has choices now, whether it's WWE or AEW. And another thing that we learned is his rival, BFF, whatever it may be, Sami Zayn. His contract is coming up at the end of this year. And those are two names that wrestling fans, I think, really had a close eye on because it became, what could those guys do in AEW? What could those guys do with a little bit more creative freedom? And I think we're going to start seeing that a lot. There's going to be contract watching, just like there used to be back in the late 90s. Guys' contracts run out. People are going to be looking to AEW. We're going to be seeing jumps, as we used to say, for the first time in, 20 years? Is that how long it's been? 2001? Man, 20 years. We're going to see like companies battling it out for the top superstars in wrestling, man. That's exciting. It's fun stuff. All right, back in here.
There we go.
Nobody worried about what Clay Travis is saying. Black Bottles, how you feeling, baby? You good? You good, man. We were talking about you earlier in the show.
Yeah.
MIA. We're happy to have you back. Yeah, you definitely. Yeah, you missed one. You missed one though, Ben. Woo. Oh, that mercy. Download the Odyssey app now and check out hundreds of new exclusive stations, including your favorite artists on the Odyssey app. The all-new artist radio stations are available for you. The all-new Odyssey exclusive stations are available for you. They're curated for sports listeners just like you. Check out the new Odyssey exclusive stations on the Odyssey app. Brought to you in part by Macy's, Geico, and Coke Zero Sugar. James Ham said to join us coming up in about 30 minutes or so. I want to get to the Paul Pierce thing. I feel like that could mean 1,000 things. Paul Pierce said something relating to basketball. That's all I want to talk about as it pertains to Paul Pierce. And I actually did find it interesting. Not necessarily interesting what he said, but interesting what the outcome could have been if it had actually happened. So we'll get to that in a second. You asked me to bookmark something. No idea the context. You just said bookmark this. And I wrote bookmark. I don't.
Oh, Damien out here writing. I'm not the only one writing on a pen.
Well, I always got to do. I don't know if you ever see me looking around. Like I feel weird. Like I have to have the pen in my hand.
I know you always have the pen, but I thought it was like just a vibe. It wasn't. You're actually writing.
It's definitely a vibe. But yeah, no, I'm jotting notes down so I don't forget what I'm saying, which I often do.
I saw something, and I don't know if this had anything to do with it, but last night Albert Pujols went back to St. Louis. Hit a home run in his first at bat. That was a pretty cool moment. I hate that Dodgers, but that was pretty dope.
Question.
Yeah,
Mr. Caraway. Was that Albert Pujols' first trip back to St. Louis?
I believe it was. I could be wrong, and I find that hard to believe.
It can't be.
He's been gone for so long.
It can't. Like all I'm trying to figure out, and it's cool they gave him an ovation because he might not be back. Yeah. It might not be his first trip back since he left St. Louis. And it definitely wasn't. He'd been gone from St. Louis for a long time, but it might be his last. So I get the crowd reaction.
Yeah.
Why the hell was Yadier Molina crying? What are you crying for? Unless Pujols said, "Hey fam, like this is it." Like I just wanted to let you know before we go out there, this is it. Like yo, what? Like he's sitting there, he got tears in his eyes. Like yo, what is going on right now? Like, I mean,
that is funny.
I don't know. I didn't get the context of it. Like, he had like Ric Flair tears in his eyes.
See,
I didn't
I'm
understand.
Have to look that up. I missed that. I just saw the home run. I didn't see Yachty doing all that. That's
I mean, he got a great ovation, and I mean, it lasted, and Molina stepped away from the plate, and he had his mask, and then they show Molina. I mean, to laugh. He's got tears in his eyes, and it's like, Wow, this is
we can laugh because that's funny.
a hell of a moment.
I don't get it. It's funny because I don't get it, maybe, or we don't get it. I don't know why you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So I don't know if this had anything to do with it or sparked up a memory for somebody. I saw this guy on Twitter. His name is Ryan Spader. I responded to it on Twitter. And he says, St. Louis Cardinals, hashtag St. Louis Cardinals, Mark McGwire hit home run number 62, breaking Roger Maris' single season record, which stood for 13,491 days. And he says, Mark McGwire saved baseball. He should not only be in the Hall of Fame, but he should also have a bronze statue out in front of the museum. And I actually read the article that he wrote about it. A lot of it was him talking about how, not necessarily steroids, but trying to get an advantage through medicine has always been in the game of baseball. He said there was rumors of Brother Babe,
Yep,
doing something with sheep skin or something like that, something crazy.
Doesn't sound like something Brother Babe would do. To be honest.
Greenies during the Willie Mays, Hank Aaron thing, all this. So he says been in the game for long enough and not condoning it, but these guys shouldn't be penalized or whatever. And the thing that really caught my eye was him saying that Mark McGwire should be in the Hall of Fame. And not only that, should have a statue in front of the Baseball Hall of Fame. Number one, he's dead ass wrong about that.
In front of the Baseball Hall of Fame? I'm sorry, I thought you meant in front of the St. Louis Stadium.
No. In front, he said in front of the museum. I'm taking it to the Hall of Fame. He's dead ass wrong about that.
That's a little extra.
Here's something that.
Mm-hmm. Really?
No.
Oh.
He had a Hall of Fame potential and he had some accolades, but he was never healthy enough to accumulate pretty much any, aside from home runs, I guess, any of the benchmarks of being a great player. He wasn't a great player at all.
Well, in fairness, the home runs were always a benchmark for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but a lot of those,
up until now,
a lot of those guys though did a lot of other stuff. As far as like their average is probably far superior than anything Mark McGwire is putting out there. Most of them.
Mark McGwire's career average 263.
And even with the home runs, I don't even think he's that high on the list.
305, 312, 333. Like he had some big years. I remember some big years when he was with Oakland. I was collecting baseball cards back then, so I was locked into everybody's stats.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
I don't think I'd fight for him, but I don't think I wouldn't fight for him, but I don't think I'd turn my nose up at it either. I don't know that I would say it as definitively as you are. He has 583 home runs, which for some reason doesn't seem like a lot anymore. It is. 583 absolutely is a lot of home runs. It just doesn't feel like it anymore.
Yeah, he's not a Hall of Famer. But I just thought it was wild when the guy was like, he saved baseball.
That's accurate.
I don't even think he was the MVP that year.
Yeah, but that's not inaccurate. I think he did save baseball.
Him and Sammy saved it.
Absolutely.
Him and
Sammy ain't a Hall of Famer either.
No, but at least Sammy was the MVP that year.
Yeah, I remember when it was like, Sammy's good now? I don't remember this dude being good before. Like, it was crazy. It's kind of how I look at Sammy now. It's like, I don't remember Sammy looking like that before. But no, I don't like I don't disagree with that.
Like sentiment, I do understand.
They absolutely saved baseball. They just
100%.
It's why they should. It's why you can't lock. It's why you can't lock these guys out of the Hall of Fame. Whether they're Hall of Fame players, whether if you believe that the Hall of Fame player, you put them in because you not only did you condone this, you celebrated it.
All right, you benefited off it. You profited off of it.
Yeah, you were dead in the water. Like you were done.
Yeah.
You were done. If D'Lo and KC existed back in it was 98, you'd be done. You'd be a wrap. Like it was over for you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd fight either way for. I don't know if I'd fight either way for Mark McGwire.
I wouldn't fight because they put guys in the Hall
Sammy
of Fame.
Doesn't belong in.
Sammy got
Sosa's not
more home runs than Mark McGwire.
But I don't think Sammy Sosa is a better player than Mark McGwire is. Like, if you think Mark McGwire isn't very good, I think Sammy Sosa is worse.
I think Sammy's a better player. Off the top of my head, I think Sammy's a better player. Sammy went, at the very least, Sammy went 3 years of 60-plus home runs. I think nobody in baseball had ever done that before.
That's our measuring stick?
We measuring home runs for Mark McGwire?
I'm not. All I said was he has 583, which doesn't seem like a lot anymore.
I'm saying that would be the only reason Mark would get in.
Okay.
Is because of home runs. So
sure.
Sammy, I could be wrong. I could be way wrong. Like you, I used to know these things down to a T, but I could be wrong. I think Sammy has more career home runs than Mark.
I feel like Jim Thomey's probably getting in because of the amount of home runs he hit, but he's perceived as clean.
Yeah.
So I think he's above 500, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is.
Oh my God, geez almighty, he's above 600.
Damn.
Jim Thomey 600. Goodness gracious,
that's a trip right there.
Yikes!
You would have got me on that one.
12.
Jeez,
man, maybe that's the problem. Is it's just not a stat that matters anymore.
Do you think there are any stats that matter anymore? Like the way those used to matter.
Sammy got 609.
I'm about to say Sammy. Yeah,
Sammy got 609. He did 60, 63, 50, 64, 49.
And I'll say this about Sammy. So Sammy was wild, boy. Not only was he doing them things, he had the backcourt.
Oh my gosh,
Sammy was wild. He was wild.
He was cheating any way that he could. 916-349-1320. Let's get to our man Big Al here, baby. Big Al, what's going on, man?
What's up, man?
Well, I think you guys are on the right side where you started, because if so, I'm totally with you. Listen, there's been books written on that, this quote-unquote cheating or enhancing or taking chemical enhancements over. No shred of evidence ever in the 30s, 40s, the roof, 20s, 30s, 40s roof period, or certainly 60s, 70s, the Mays, Hank here and all that, ever has been proven. However, we do know in the 90s, 2000 period, oh, absolutely. That's been quantified. So,
well, I'll say this, Big Al. Steroids go back to the 70s for sure.
Okay, even at 70, I don't care. See, that's not my point. My point, my point is, it was not true, though, going back to 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s. Never been proven. Books have been written on it. So
that don't mean it didn't exist. That doesn't mean it didn't exist.
Big Al sounds like he wants to go right now.
Performance enhancing drugs.
You'd be thrown out of court. See, come on, you'd be thrown out of court. You bring that kind of scurrilous.
We're not in.
But wouldn't
you mean to tell me you know for sure that performance enhancing drugs did not exist before the 70s?
I know from the evidence that was researched that the players that this gentleman brings up was never conclusively proven.
Yeah, they didn't do andro because it wasn't around. So yeah, there's no evidence of that. But you can't. I'm not saying they did or didn't. But you can't tell me that no performance enhancing was available.
So I also.
What do you think was available? Saltpeter? What are you talking about?
Greenies for one. Greenies for one is performance enhancing.
Dexies go back to even World War II. I get that. Doesn't mean that those players were on it. And that's
they said they took them. They said they took them.
I have never heard
Big Al. Them all in the level.
Well, let me ask Big Al another question. Like Barry Bonds, there's no shred of evidence Barry Bonds did anything wrong, right?
No, I think Barry did do something wrong.
But there's ain't no evidence that he did anything wrong other than the dramatic change in his body size.
There's strong links to Balco though too. It's just the fact that nobody rolled on Barry to the degree that others rolled on.
Victor Conte's a genius.
Throw him out. Sammy throw him out. Palmeiro throw him out. Questions on Clemens throw him out. I mean, I'm just saying that now Barry, the only guy I could say they can argument Hall of Fame because what Barry did with Pittsburgh before the juice started flowing in those arms, he was on that.
I mean, you think everybody's celebrating Derek Jeter today? You think Jeets cheated?
Yeah, I'm torn on Jeter. I'm torn on Jeter.
I hadn't heard that one. I never heard
No,
anybody say
I
Derek
haven't
Jeter.
either. But here's what I'm
he's
saying.
torn on it. I've never heard anybody be torn on Derek Jeter.
You talk about players who just might not be that good.
I made that argument a while back.
Thanks,
I appreciate you.
I'd never heard Big Al. Big Al didn't know what I meant. I mean, he was ready to throw hands. Big Al just dropped out of the studio. He sounded like he was ready to go.
As my grandmother used to say.
He was ready to go.
Yeah. So 2 things. Number one, Jeter. We all know he benefited from the Yankees thing. We all know that's the case. But he did get 3,000 hits. Like that. That's a hell of a benchmark right there. 3,000 hits. It's nothing to sneeze at right there. So he got that.
Okay.
And then the other, we know that they didn't have Andro in the 30s and 40s and things of that nature. The way they enhanced their performance was not allowing black people to play.
and there you go. Except for one guy.
Brother Babe snuck in the back door.
Brother Babe Ruth. Brother Babe got in on a technicality.
He snuck in the back door.
Brother Babe got in on a technicality. The first black baseball player in the history of Major League Baseball. Babe Ruth. Oh, goodness gracious. As Cole's saying here in the chat, Big Al wanted that smoke, boy. Man, Big Al wanted that smoke. Okay, we're Shohei Ohtani and the PED conversation. We're going to put that over here. We're going to put it in a box. It's a different box, but we're going to put it in a box.
There was
Goodness
a time.
Gracious.
I don't think we're there now, although it can pick up. But there was a time I remember, sports radio hosts, especially like in the Bay Area, they would be like, "There's nothing really to talk about today." Barry Bonds and steroids. They'd have a 4-hour show.
Oh,
they have a 4-hour show. Just people calling in all day.
I always knew what topic to go to if it was slow.
DeMarcus
Cousins. I got 3 hours to fill. What do we do? I don't know. Just say DeMarcus's name 5 seconds into the show and just go from there.
Ben Simmons kind of had that effect.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ben Simmons, he brings them out.
Based on our YouTube channel, Ben Simmons is still having that effect.
We need to do a Ben Simmons daily show based on the YouTube numbers.
We're talking about Rick Ross, man. We need to do more. The Ben Simmons Show here on ESPN 1320's YouTube channel. Daily updates, despite there's no update to give. I don't know if I said this already, but you're listening to D-Lo and KC on ESPN 1320 KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento and Odyssey Station, and driven by Lashers, Elk Grove Dodge. Kenny Caraway, I'm Demi Barling. James Ham set to join us coming up here whenever the hell James Ham wants to join us. But at minimum, in about 10 minutes, James will be with us. I can't believe this is a sentence I'm going to say out loud. Paul Pierce said something interesting.
What?
In an interview. Yeah. So he was going on bitching and complaining about the Celtics before, they made the trade for Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. Mm-hmm. He was talking about how good he was, but he thought his time in Boston was done, and he had gone to Mark Cuban. They had run into each other somewhere, and he went to Mark Cuban and said, "Yo, get me to Dallas, man. Get me out of here." This was in 2007. And, we know how that story ends. It didn't happen. The Celtics were terrible. Doc was on the verge of getting fired. They thought they were going to get Greg Oden or Kevin Durant. They thought they were going to get one of those 2 top picks. They wound up getting the 4th. They traded it. That's how the whole Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce thing was born. The most overrated championship in the history of the league is won that
Jesse
year.
Come get you, man.
He might, and he knows where I live, so he's gonna wake up with Celtic spray painted with a clover leaf spray painted on the garage.
We're lucky.
Yeah, right, right. Just don't step on it. Don't step on it.
How dare you? How dare you disrespect Lucky?
But I thought it's like, okay, it's just kind of one of those nuggets that come out as Paul Pierce getting ready to go into the Hall of Fame. I think Paul Pierce also said it would be the biggest travesty in history if he didn't go in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if travesty was the word that he used, but if he didn't go in the Hall of Fame on the first ballot, oh goodness, it would be the worst thing that's ever happened.
Boy,
but it did get me thinking, because we've talked about the domino effect of the Chris Paul Los Angeles Lakers deal not happening and how things kind of went after that, and how the Grantland, for those who are old enough to remember that
throwback,
and they did this 6 degrees of separation on everyone who would have been affected by that deal going through and everyone who was affected by the Clippers deal.
Mm-hmm.
What if Paul Pierce had gone to the Mavericks in 2007?
Mm-hmm.
And I started thinking, man, how different would things be? Because obviously the Celtics aren't, the 2008 Celtics team doesn't happen. Like Ray Allen doesn't go there. Kevin Garnett doesn't waive his no trade clause to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Does LeBron win a championship in his first stint with Cleveland? Does LeBron ever leave Cleveland? And here's the one that really got me. And I know this is almost in a box of itself that you're not allowed to talk about. Would Kobe have gotten 6? Would he have gotten that untouchable number?
Okay, how did we get there?
2007.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Paul Pierce goes to the Mavericks.
They beat the Lakers. That's right.
Let's bring in James Ham because I can see James Ham in the corner. He's thinking, "Oh, this is a new James Ham." For those that are listening on the radio, I believe James. For those who weren't with us last week, James getting ready to go to the beach next week. This is is this a fresh beach look for you, James?
Yeah, I don't usually go tea during them. So...
Casey, you got to pot us down over there. I think.
I got you.
Okay, sorry, James. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's okay. I usually don't have a go during the season because of COVID, and I'm wearing a mask all the time. It don't really matter. So yeah, I shaved. I can grow it back in like a week. So
we have a weird connection with you, James. Let me try something here. We had this like ultra little. We were getting double James Ham right there with multiple sounds. I want to bring you in. I want to bring you into this conversation because I think that it's cleared up. Paul Pierce was on the verge of his induction into the Hall of Fame. He had mentioned he had talked to Mark Cuban. He wanted to get out of Boston before that trade was made in 2008 and go to the Mavericks. And it got us to thinking, like, how different would things be if Paul Pierce had really gone to the Mavericks? And as mentioned to Kenny, the 08 Celtics team never happened. Does LeBron leave Cleveland? Does LeBron win a championship his first stint in Cleveland? Does Kobe get to number 6? How many things change if that Paul Pierce move actually happens and he winds up in Dallas?
Well, I think the biggest question you have to ask is Paul Pierce a Hall of Famer? Because without championship, probably not. He is a good scorer, but he was a good scorer. Bad team for a long time. Boston was not very, very good early in his career. Like, I mean, it's an interesting question, right? It's the butterfly effect. What happens, when this happens and this happens and then this happens. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy. I mean, again, like Kevin Garnett probably never wins a championship. So yeah, I think it does change a lot of people's perception. And it's just like if Chris Webber doesn't blow out a knee, and wins a championship, there's no reason a Webber would have never had to win this to get into the Hall of Fame.
So we're going to hit pause real quick, James, because we're still getting that weird sound from you. So we're going to ask, can you just do a quick reset or refresh on your end with your browser? And we'll come back. We won't miss any time with James Ham. He'll join us here in just a minute for sure. But
James was kind of like, remember that weird thing in the 80s? You go, bah, bah,
I feel like you're talking about Max Headroom, but I'm not for sure. That's a deep 80s cut.
That's
close. I think it's Max Headroom, but yeah. That
thing was so weird. What was he? Where did he come from? What was it?
He was like I don't remember what Max Headroom. I feel like James would remember Max Headroom. I don't remember. I remember I don't remember what he was like, but he was like a computer.
Yeah, that's like a Pepsi commercial, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was a Pepsi commercial, but did he have a show?
Oh, that would be crazy.
Yeah, it's probably a Saturday morning cartoon. Audio cleared up or no?
It's
still kind of choppy.
It's still a little choppy. Let's all reset. Let's all take a quick break. We'll get James Ham back in here with us. We'll get the audio set up the way it should be. We were just having some fun with this Paul Pierce story. We'll talk about the Kings.
I want to hear more about it, though.
I want to talk to James about what we were talking about earlier.
Oh, for sure.
I want to talk to James about Harrison Barnes. And just, if you weren't with us, we'll recap it.
Yeah.
We'll talk with James Ham, the James Ham Show, coming up next here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. Yeah, I don't know what's causing that. I don't think it's on our end, but I certainly don't know for sure. Because I got your KC. Can you talk to me?
Yeah. Check 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, I got your audio clear. That's got to be just a weird hiccup on James's end. I don't know what that is. Him's got the gold dust. Oh, I remember. That's a deep cut right there. You remember? Oh, do you remember the gold dust? Remember? I think gold dust got like electrocuted or something.
Vaguely, I remember it. It's kind of ringing a bell.
His gold dust stuff. I think gold dust was super talented. His stuff with Booker T was legit funny.
I don't remember what he did with Booker T.
Oh, he did some stuff with Booker T that was legit funny.
That was such a weird thing to come into. Like when he came into the WWE, it's like
as Goldust.
Yeah, it's like
that was different. That was different. Yeah, Goldust was different.
If it wasn't for Marlena, I would have been turned it every time he came on.
Hey, I give him credit for trying it. He did it. Like he killed that role.
Maybe it's a little aggressive to say a legend, but I mean,
that's not aggressive. No, that's legit. Okay,
because we all remember Goldust.
Did you see? I think it was AEW's. I don't know, their first pay-per-view, their first show with Cody and Goldust, or Cody and Dustin.
I remember.
Oh, it was good. It was a fight. All right, let's try this again, James.
All right.
Okay. That sounds legit. Yeah,
better?
That sounds legit. Yeah, that's better. Okay, now we're good. Yeah, we're set. Wait. We're good. We're good.
Yeah. Rooted Chrome. I don't use Chrome very often. Yeah.
Oh, maybe not.
David J says Max Headroom appeared in British TV movie Max Headroom 20 minutes into the future, 1985. That's phenomenal knowledge, David.
Speaking a couple of sentences.
Test 1 2 3 3. You got me? Is it weird?
It's a little broke. I can't figure out what it is though. I don't think it's your internet. Is your
Let me try. Let me unplug my Yeti. Hang on.
That's what it sounded like.
Maybe that's what it was.
Two mics.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Is that me? No, we can't hear you. See, we work through all the technical difficulties live with each other. That's
all we do. We just work,
Nope, still can't hear you. Oh, wait a minute. I think you get
there.
Oh no.
Okay. There you go. You got me now?
Yep, we got you now.
Still
James Ham, say your full name.
James Ham.
Still
bad?
There. It's I can't. I don't know what it is.
Good.
Make sure they let them.
Yeah.
Let me make sure OBS. Source of streaming. Audio on mic. Let's see.
Bizarre.
I'm looking around. I don't know what it could be. It actually doesn't sound like it's your internet. I don't know what it is. This is the same setup we always have.
You still hear me or no?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Okay.
We're coming back here in a second, I think. Oh, we got 45 seconds. Okay. Let me check a couple of things here on. Yeah, echo cancellation, automatically adjust mic volume. No, that's nothing.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm trying to see if it's my back channel I run. Okay, is it bad now still?
That is better.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah,
think it's better or no?
Everyone's saying it's better.
Sweet.
I think we'll find out once we get into a lengthy conversation. If we have any problems, we'll talk on the phone in a few minutes. But I think we're okay.
All right, sweet.
Hang on. I think we got all the technical difficulties worked out with our man James Ham, who joins us here as he does each week on Dealing with KC for the James Ham Show. James, always great to see you. We were trying to joke about you shaved the beard, you're going on vacation. We were talking about Paul Pierce. It all got a little muddled, but people are here for you to talk about Kings. So let's talk about the Kings. I do want to mention, because James Ham's quite the popular individual here with Dealing with KC, Ham's going to the beach next week. Probably safe to say your last vacation for a little while.
Yeah. The last days off I'll have for a couple of months. Yeah. Usually, I think one year I didn't have a single day off from September 1st until like April 15th, 14th.
And I don't imagine with the way the season has, not this season, the way the last couple of seasons have gone, you haven't gotten much time off period since, I mean, arguably since the shutdown ended.
Yeah.
Because there hasn't been much off season.
No, I mean, I think that's what like misconception is about like our job. It's super, rewarding because you get to know all the information. You're out on the phone. You get to be in the locker room. You get every game. But like in a normal season, I work between 60 and 80 hours a week. Like for a normal game, I show up at 10 o'clock in the morning shoot around, which means I leave my house at 9 because I live far away.
I hate to cut you off, James. I'm not sure what the issue is with our
audio.
Yeah, so we're going to give you a call so we can at least talk to you for a little bit here. Again, not really sure what the issue with James Ham's sound is. We have the normal setup. We troubleshooted a couple of things during the commercial break, but not really sure what is going on. Jesse's going to give him a call right now, and we'll talk to him here in just a heartbeat. Probably not as much small talk about things like his vacation, like we were talking about there a few moments ago, but we will talk about the Sacramento Kings when James joins us here in just a heartbeat. And again, apologies for that. It's technical difficulties. I don't know, man. It is what it is. You know how we roll. If everything went perfectly, it wouldn't be D'Lo and KC. That's just kind of how it is. Okay, James, thanks for adjusting and joining us here on the phone again. Not really sure what the difficulties are there with the stream, but appreciate you adjusting. James, we had a conversation earlier about Harrison Barnes. I feel like we have talked about virtually everybody on the Kings roster except for Harrison Barnes. Was there or is there a trade market for him? Do you have teams called that you're aware of, or do you think like people have inquired about, hey, what's the availability of Harrison Barnes? You interested in moving him? Here's what you could possibly get in return.
I think that there was a huge trade market for Harrison at the deadline. I mean, he had one of his best seasons of his career. We saw Boston chasing him hard. At the end of the day, I think the Kings look at Harrison as the bridge guy, the guy that gets them to the next generation. And he's the solid vet who's there to basically help groom this team and get them ready, teach them how to be pros, both on the court and off the court, teach them how to work in the community, how to keep their bodies in great shape. There's a good value to him. And not only that, but they're the ones who signed him to the declining scale contract. So he's got 2 more years, and at what he makes, $20 million this year, $18 million next. That's a really good bargain for Harrison Barnes. People don't love to hear that, but really it is. I mean, he's a very, very good player that can play 35 minutes a night. So our team's calling. I'm sure they have all off season. But he's not someone that the Kings are shopping. And I don't think that there are a lot of players that the Kings are shopping. They have their small group that they're shopping. But Harrison, I don't think it's one of them.
In your opinion, James, just hypothetically, because I agree with you, I don't think he's being shopped or included in any of these trade discussions. But if they were to switch out, our universal trade of Bagley, Buddy, couple of firsts and, go seeking for talent. If they were to switch out Buddy for Barnes, do you think they would have more people interested in that deal than the one that has Bagley and Buddy in it?
Probably. And to be honest with you, I think Barnes on the open market has more value than Buddy, even though Buddy has that elite skill of shooting. Barnes is still a very good 3-point shooter. He's a solid defensive player. He upped his rebounds. He upped his assists per game. I mean, really, he did have a very, very strong season for the Kings this year. And he's a guy who, on a normal season, plays. They both do. They both play close to 80 games every season. I think Buddy Hield's only missed 3 games total in his career. Harrison missed a few games with adductor. I think it was at the end of the season. He had one little bump and bruise early in the season too, where he missed 1 or 2 games. But these are guys that are solid that come out and play every night. I think Barnes' versatility for a team like Philadelphia per se, it does make a lot of sense. But more than anything, that team really does need 3-point shooters, which is why Buddy has always been sort of the guy that you want to center a trade around. And, I think I told you guys this once before. I think if you're going to make a deal for Ben Simmons, there's a way that the Buddy Hield makes more sense than Harrison Barnes with pairing with Simmons. I think Buddy can play the 3. He's not someone you want to have playing the 3 full time, but, he is strong. He's built. He's lateral quickness. I think he's better suited to play the 3. Strength-wise, he can hold his own at the 3. But his ability to shoot and space the floor is elite. And I think that actually would play really well with Ben Simmons.
Kings insider James Ham with us here on D'Lo and KC. You wrote a great article, I think it was yesterday or the last day or two, about questioning, you posed the question, have the Kings done enough to compete in this upcoming season? And I'm curious, have they? I feel like so much of how we evaluate the Kings in their offseason hinges on the names that, we just got done talking about, James, Buddy Hield, perhaps Harrison Barnes, Marvin Bagley, or maybe more specifically, the acquisition of someone like Ben Simmons or Pascal Siakam. But none of that has happened. So do you think, as is, the Kings have done enough to compete next year?
Yeah, I think it's interesting when we talk about the Kings and, what they've done during the offseason. I think what you can do, you can grade individual acquisitions, right? So if we look at a Mo Harkless pickup, for me, that's a solid B- pickup, to retain your own guy. You talk about Rashawn Holmes, that's a solid A- B+ pickup for the Kings. Even Alex Len, give me a C+ for that because I think he fits a need. Terrence Davis, so when we look at it, but you're always looking at it through the lens of, well, it's the Kings. So, no, the Kings didn't go do a sign and trade for Lauri Markkanen. No, they didn't go get the big heavy hitter. And so when I look at the team and I compare it to the roster that started last season, I think that they're way better than they were coming into last season. And, so I think you're going to see a reduction in things like 9-game losing streaks. I don't think if you would have had this type of depth coming into last season, you would not have had 2 9-game losing streaks. If you change those numbers around and just say they went 2-5 in those 9 games, right? 2-7 in those 9 games. Well, 4 more wins get you in the playoffs, or at least get you in the play-in game. This team didn't miss by that much. It really is, if you do the math, it's a 35-win team. It's not a 31-win team because there's only 72 games. So if I look at that, 35 wins, and I start taking away the little win totals here and there, how can I get to at least 42? I think this team could win 42. So, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be in the playoff consideration. The playoffs could be 48 wins this year again in the Western Conference. So I think the answer is I gave them an incomplete because you can see what they're trying to do. There's no question. You can see that they have a roster and then they have 2 guys kind of off to the side just waiting to be traded. And the trade just hasn't gone through. They haven't found the right trade partner yet. And I think that that's really an awkward way to walk into a season, especially when you have 15 straight losing seasons and 15 straight seasons without a playoff appearance. So at some point, you're either this is who you are and this is the team that you have. But I don't even, I listen to Tyrese Halliburton on the old man and the three. And, he doesn't even know how to describe what Buddy Hield is right now. Like, and they didn't push him on it, but it's like, we've got our backcourt, with he means him and De'Aaron, and then they got Davion, and then they got Terrence Davis. And, oh yeah, we have Buddy. And it's like, where does all of these pieces fit? And the answer is they don't. And you've been waiting for that one deal to sort of balance the whole thing, and it just hasn't happened. And I don't know that it will happen. And so it's an awkward situation to be in, I would say.
So we're going to do it a little earlier here. We do it weekly. We do it every time. It feels like everybody is on vacation and enjoying their offseason right now. So I don't think anything will happen right now. But James, opening night, Bagley, Buddy, Sacramento Kings.
Man, I don't think that's the plan. But at this point, like, they're still there, right?
Yeah.
They're still on the roster. And look, I don't think it's a total indictment on either player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just that at some point you can't keep trying the same thing again and again and expecting a different outcome. And those are kind of the two that you circled that are movable in a transaction. And, even if you look at Bagley as an expiring contract, and we talked about, like, Tristan Thompson could be looked at in the same trade.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They could swap out Tristan Thompson, throw in Robert Woodard if they needed to, whatever. They could make a deal happen with or without Bagley, with Buddy. They could do it with Bagley and with Barnes, with Tristan Thompson, with Barnes. I mean, like, there's a lot of different combinations that they could do, which kind of makes things slightly awkward. But, we got to that point in the offseason where most of the players are back in Sacramento. They all have been arriving the last couple of days, and they're going at each other, and they're having a good time. And this is what you're going to roll with until you don't roll with it, until somebody else is gone. And so you hope that they're breaking bread and they're pulling these guys in and saying, look, we don't know what's going to happen with you, but, you're welcome here, and we still love you, and you're still our teammate.
And you know what, James, real quick, Dave, I'll even say the fact that Bagley and Buddy haven't been moved isn't even necessarily an indictment on them. Like, I look around the league, and it's just like the fits, the timing of, a trade, all that stuff. There's not a lot, if any, that work for Buddy and Bagley to be moved. That doesn't mean they're not good players or that other teams wouldn't want them. It just seems like the timing right now just isn't right for a deal with either one of them to be made. That's just kind of what I see.
Yeah, I mean, we still have time. There's still plenty of time before not just training camp starts. I think media day is going to be around the 27th. And then that means the training camp will start the 28th or the 29th, right around there. But there's still time before then. And then, the regular season doesn't start for the Kings until October 20th. I mean, we're still looking at, 6 weeks of opportunity to make a blockbuster trade that would change the direction of your franchise. And, like, look, I don't think every team out there is looking at this offseason the same way the Kings are. And, each trade partner has a different motivation for why they're doing what they're doing. But this one just seems like they are trying their best to make it work, trying their best to swing for the fences. And if that doesn't work, then they're just going to have to wait until the opportunity does arise.
I'm going to text James Ham at this time next week when he's on the beach with some sort of, like, slushy drink in his hand, and just say, hey, James, Buddy gonna be on the roster when the season starts, just so that I don't want the bit to die just because James going on vacation. Like, we can't have that. But let me ask you this: how do you reconcile? And I understand they're professionals, James, but, like, hey, dude's got feelings, and, like, how do you reconcile with these guys? Like, Buddy, I know you were getting congratulatory texts about going to Los Angeles, and everybody involved with the deal said they thought it was done. From Kyle Kuzma to Montrezl Harrell and everybody else involved, it was done until it wasn't. How do you reconcile with him? And I feel like there's something to be reconciled with Marvin, but that's probably a little bit different. Mm-hmm. How do you kind of, like, all right, nothing got done. You're still a part of this franchise. Let's go out there and win.
I think both players at different times have put themselves in a situation where they aren't on the outside looking in of the team. I know that. Like, I mean, Marvin has pushed some buttons here and there, but he's like the team, his teammates have always said, hey, look, we're fine with Marvin. We totally dig Marvin.
Yeah.
Even when his dad is going off and getting in a fight with, like a Twitter beef with De'Aaron Fox's dad, like behind the scenes, the players are still like, hey, look, we're fine. We're teammates. Like, if we have a problem, he's right there. I'll go walk over and I'll say something to him.
Right.
But as of right now, we don't need to do that. So I don't know that it's so much like the team and the players, because once you roll a ball out and say, okay, 5-on-5, let's go, your teammates are going to hoop. You're going to go at each other. You're going to have a good time during practice and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think the real, what has to be reconciled is with the front office, with the management of the team. Like, what are you trying to do with us? And are we going to be here? Are we not going to be here? And to be honest with you, I don't think either one of them would prefer, just because of the way things have worked out here, neither of them, I would believe, would want to be in Sacramento long term. Marvin was ready to move at the trade deadline, and to be honest with you, they couldn't find a taker that would work. And at this point, I think the Kings are still in that same situation where, if Marvin was who the Kings hoped he would be, A, they wouldn't be trading him, and B, this trade for Ben Simmons would have already gone through, because he would have been, a huge chip to throw into a deal.
Right.
If you got a 21, 22-year-old kid who's posting 20 and 10, I mean, again, you're not trading him.
Right.
And you're sticking with the group you have, and you're probably, 5 or 10 games better in the win total if he was who you thought he would be. So I think for Marvin, he has to look really hard in the mirror and say, okay, what do I have to do? I think with Buddy, it's different. Buddy has kind of lost his starting job because they drafted somebody else, and that somebody else is more versatile. And Buddy has had a really hard time complimenting Halliburton. It's one of the more awkward things. If you ask Buddy about Halliburton in a postgame, he always takes a strange jab. So even if what he does looks funny, he still hits a shot. But he never says like, oh my gosh, Halliburton has been amazing. It's like, well, but he does it really in a weird way. But, he's been good. So there's always like that competition with, and to be honest, that's what you want, right? You want guys to want to compete against each other. You want them, and for that matter, you don't want Halliburton to just get handed a job that he hasn't earned. So I think competition is good, but at the same time, like, I don't think it's a weird situation. You would hope that it wouldn't have carried on this long as far as it has. But at the end of the day, like, there's only so much McNair can do. There's only so much that Marvin and Buddy can do. They've got to walk back in and play out their contracts and just, hope for the best, and hope that, if the Kings do make a deal, that it's one that puts them in a good position to succeed and where they can, better themselves going forward.
James, hearing you say that, it got my mind going, and I was wondering, and I know you said a lot of it has to be made up. Right here, I'm talking specifically with Marvin Bagley. Has to be made up between him and the front office. But I wonder how far a conversation with a teammate or a couple of teammates would go with Marvin. And maybe they've already had these conversations. But if Halliburton or maybe he needs to hear it from Fox or somebody like Davion or Sean, and they're like, yo, Sean or Marvin, I know this is a business. It's professional basketball. Like, I know you got to do what's best for your career, but man, I think if you stay here, we could do something special. I feel like we need you. You need us. Like, let's do this together. Part of me feels like that's never happened. Part of me feels like if that were to happen, maybe it could change how Marvin looks about potentially staying here in Sacramento. Do you think that matters at all if those things have happened? Or what do you think about that conversation potentially happening or not happening?
I think that there's always those conversations. I think there's always someone putting their arm around Marvin and saying, like, look, we don't blame you. We don't blame you for the fact that, you played, 113 out of a possible, 223 games, whatever. It's something like he's missed 48% of the games. Mm-hmm. Like, they all feel bad for him when it does happen. But this season in particular, he made the decision to leave and go away for over a month. And he took, he was out for 6 weeks, right? With his second injury, his hand injury. He was away from the team during that time. And like, I'm not saying like teammates are pointing fingers, because look, you have to remember that this season and like this late half of the bubble is different than any other season ever. Normally, we would have conversations with players off the record. We would know what the vibe was in the locker room a little bit better with regards to a specific player, just because, you know, we're in there. But with COVID and not being let in the locker room and everything being Zoom and everyone having the same information, it is slightly different, where, you know, you're not going to get that personal touch or that relationship that I might have with one player who kind of looks at me sideways and goes, hey, you know, like things aren't going good, and, you know, quietly say something. That's just not happening anymore, because of the way that media is right now. So, like, look, I think that there should be a way, and the players know best. They've watched Marvin from like a 19-year-old kid. They've watched the work that he's put in. They know better than us whether he does the work that they do or whether he doesn't do the work, whether he does the film study or he doesn't do the film study. Like, those are things that they already know. There's nothing we can tell them about Marvin that they don't already know. Right. And so I think the players have a better insight than what we want to act like they do. Like, if there's someone who either does carry their weight and just happens to get hurt, or who doesn't carry their weight, who doesn't do the work, like, everyone in that room knows. And so those are conversations that they have with each other. Those are conversations that they have in small groups. And there's everyone in that room knows who and what Marvin is and how they stand with him and how they would accept him if he is going to be there full time. And it's not something that like you or I really have any impact in, or somebody's dad or somebody else. It is what it is. They know each other really well.
Gotcha.
James Ham, Kings Insider, NBC Sports, with us here on D-Lo and KC. You mentioned Tyrese a couple of times. Is Tyrese's growth, and this is kind of taking De'Aaron out of the equation. Obviously there's always hope that De'Aaron's going to be great or manage to get even better or play like an all-star or however we want to frame it. But outside of De'Aaron Fox, is Tyrese Halliburton's growth the most important thing to this upcoming season for the Kings?
Yeah, I think without a doubt. I don't think there's anything that's even remotely close. I mean, we know who Harrison Barnes is. We know who Rashawn Holmes is. We know what Alex Len can give you off the bench. We know it. Mo Harkless can give you off the bench. Even like, for that matter, I think we have a pretty good idea of who Terrence Davis is. You start going around, and next thing you know, you get to like the two key components. I think it's Fox and it's Halliburton. And while Fox put up 25.2 and 7.2 and 1.5 steals and played 35 minutes tonight, which was a career high, I think we're waiting towards that moment where it's every game he's so dominant that you can't look away. And we're so close to that. And I think, again, you look at him posting his full pics on the gram, and, he's looking all buff, and like, that's what you're hoping, that every year he comes back and he's better. And if he can solidify and be not just 25-7, but 25-7, and he makes everyone better, he plays better defense, and he's able to sort of like tighten the range of what his scoring pattern is. So as opposed to scoring, 35 one night and 15 another, or more like, you can pretty much count on him to score between like 22 and 28 every night, and that's how he gets to 25. That's when you know you've got something, where he can walk onto a court without even trying, even like take Chris Webber, for instance. Chris Webber, even when he had no knee left, he could still walk on a court and get you in 20 and 10 without even breaking sweat. And that's what you're waiting for that moment where it's Fox, where like, okay, you're not only good, but you're that good every single night, and we know we're getting old. We're not going to pencil it in, we're going to write it in pen. So now when we shift to Halliburton, I think Halliburton is where Fox was a couple of years ago. Maybe not Fox from first year to second year, because Halliburton was so much better than Fox was in his first season. And, both of them will tell you that, like Fox will tell you without any question, he's so much better than I was as a rookie. And it's just the composure, the way that he conducts himself, the way that he understands the game. All of those components are so good. So what you're waiting to see is Halliburton like a 20-point a game, 20-point, like 6 assists, 4.5 rebounds? Is that who he is? or is he more like a 16.5? And, you know, like you got to figure out who he's going to be. And I think we'll see a major step this year, but then we'll really know who Halliburton is the next season. And we'll kind of have like a good grasp on who he'll be for the rest of his career. And I think he's the guy who's gonna make the huge difference in this season, just because he's gonna have a different role. He's gonna be secondary ball handler. He's gonna be the guy who, you know, basically is asked to shoot all of the 3-pointers that Buddy was, but at the same time make De'Aaron Fox better. And so I really like what we're seeing out of Halliburton. And I think that when you have a player like that, you know, you look and you can see how special he can be, and you can see how this tandem could be similar to like a Dame and CJ for a long time, where they can be really, really good together. And so, yeah, I do think Halliburton is really the biggest piece to improvement. But I also think, like, look, Fox has to be who he is. We need to know that each and every single game he is that good. And, like, look, we can talk about he's all-star level. He needs to be an all-star. And you can see it when someone's an all-star, and you can see it when someone's really close. Like, Rudy Gay was really close for a long time, never made the all-star team. It was just you're waiting for that one more step, and he just never made it. And so you're hoping that Fox gets there this season.
In your opinion, James, where do you just kind of see Tyrese Halliburton landing in his career? I know we discuss it a lot of times on the show, and people are like, oh, he could be an all-star, and he could, you know, be CJ and all this other stuff. I don't think, and Tyrese is a great player. I love the way he plays. I don't think he's ever going to be that type of scorer, just because, and it's a compliment to him, in my opinion, is he doesn't take bad shots. And I think a lot of times to be like this 20-plus per game scorer, you're going to have to force some things up, and he just doesn't – that doesn't seem to be who he is by nature as an offensive player. But I could see him being a 17, 18 points per game, 6, 7 assists, and maybe that's good enough for, you know, all-stars in some situations. They'll give it to Ben Simmons. So maybe it'll work for him in some respects, but I think that's the type of player it could be. Am I selling short a little bit in your opinion?
Well, I mean, look, I think we have to see more. I want a bigger sample size, because the one thing that I know about him is that he's absolutely brilliant on the court. Like, his basketball IQ is extremely high. And, you know, I've talked about, I feel like I beat on Buddy Hield about this. You know, what we talked about last year, he had 33 of his 60 or 71 games, he didn't go to the free throw line. I think Halliburton, first of all, he doesn't go to the free throw line either, but when I watch him working out now, I see him using the strength that he's gained, and I see him using his body to draw contact and go up. And I think he's a guy that's realizing, like, look, I can probably get to 18 points a game just in the natural flow of stepping in the starting lineup, getting more opportunities, getting 2 or 3 shots more per game, you know, increasing the field goal percentage a little bit here or there. But the way that he's going to be able to get to 20 or even higher is he's going to have to get to the line. And I think that's where can he use his basketball IQ to get to the line, to slow the game down for his teammates, to get that breath, and to become like an elite scorer, as opposed to like a really solid second or third option on a team. And so I think he can get to 20. I don't think that's going to be super hard, but can he sustain that, or is it going to be like a one-off where he does that 1 or 2 seasons in his career? You know, I think that there is a possibility for him to get much better. And look, we talked about CJ McCollum, and, you know, I'll compare De'Aaron Fox to Russell Westbrook all the time, because like their statistical breakdown their first couple of years is almost identical. If you go to CJ McCollum, look where he was as a rookie and a second-year player, averaging 6 points, 8 points a game, and really not being a huge part of what they're doing, versus what we saw from Halliburton in year one. And both of them, I think McCollum was even a year older than Halliburton was as a rookie, maybe even 2 years older. So he's so much further along. And so I think the potential is there. I think we're just going to have to see, does he develop that killer instinct? Does he get to the line? Does he find a way to be more selfish? Because that's kind of like what separated. I think that Halliburton can get to where Bogdanovich was like this year. And then it's like, okay, how good can he be after that? And that's kind of where I would judge him. Like, let's give him 2 more years to really fill out and get stronger, like what we're seeing from Fox.
Yeah.
Why are we so fixated on size in basketball? Like De'Aaron's posts go up. Yeah. Oh, look at De'Aaron. And I know Mark Jones had told us, months ago, I just saw De'Aaron Fox. He's put on 8 pounds. Like and I get it. Like, James, if it's content purposes, hey, you're a writer. We're talk show hosts. We're all in the content business. Are we just craving the 10 pounds of muscle story? Like, why in basketball are we so fixated on guys' size?
I was amused by him putting the pictures up, and then I thought like the instant thing was, hey, dude, stop skipping leg day. That was like the first response to everybody. And then someone said, oh, the NBA. Like, when I wrote like just a quick hitter on it was when his fiance posted on Instagram that the league had called and asked him to take a drug test. Look, I've watched the natural progression of players for years. The Kings are always in the lottery. They always have a bunch of young players. I've watched it, everyone from, Jason Thompson, Tyreke Evans, Jimmer, Ben McLemore, like Thomas Robinson, you name it. I've watched all these guys. Like, they start out at one point and then you hope to see them build and get stronger. And just the way Fox plays, I mean, he led all guards last year. And in field goal percentage at the rim, shot like, I saw a stat, something like 74% at the rim, which was just nuts. And if he's going to be able to stay strong and play 35 minutes a game, he has to do what he's doing right now, because he's still at an age, he's 23 years old. He'll be 24, I think, in either December or January. I think it's December. But he's still at an age where he's going to have a difficult time maintaining body weight because his metabolism is so high. So I like to see him skipping steps and getting stronger and being that kind of like physical player. Are we obsessed with it? Sure. And I'll tell you, like, sometimes it doesn't even matter. Like, I remember Jason Thompson coming into camp every year. He had redefined his body. And the player that came in that like shot with his toes facing the completely wrong direction and was, like wide and blocky through the hips and not very well defined. And then the player he was as like a 6-year guy, and every time he came in, he was ripped and he took his body, and his regiment like very seriously during the off season. Like, it never translated to anything better for Jason Thompson. And in fact, he got less opportunity the longer he got into the league. So what you're hoping is that this is what Fox is going to look like, that he's going to be able to take the beating. He's going to be able to play major minutes, for a long time. And that's, to be an all-star, you need to play 70-plus games a year, and maybe even more than that. Like, you need to play a lot, and he's got to stay healthy just like everyone else does.
The biggest thing for me, James, is I want that shot to get right. I mean, it's improving. It's doing something. I like it. It's getting more consistent. He's really consistent in the mid-range. But, I love him, bulking up in a little bit and being able to take the contact and withstand the whole season. But, man, if he could get that free throw percentage, I'm not even asking where it should be as a point guard. It should be about 90. I'm just saying, if you can get me to 83% from the line, and you can get me back to, I'm not even asking for 40. Just get me to 37 like you were your second year. Oh, we got action. And De'Aaron Fox can do all that.
Yeah, I mean, like, the two things I'll point out. Number one, the free throw percentage has to get better. Like, if that's who you are, then get in and keep working on it. I mean, to me, a lot of his stuff when it comes to the free throw line is mental. I watch him rush stuff all the time. When he gets it and he just fires it, he's just not taking that 1 or 2 seconds to clear his head, to focus, and then knock the shot down. Because I don't think he has a bad-looking free throw. But I'll tell you, I strongly believe that playing alongside a guy like Halliburton, who is going to get him at least 2 or 3 wide-open looks from free every single night, that will make a tremendous difference in his three-point percentage. Again, he shot 39% on catch and shoot three-pointers last year. The deal is you need to get more catch and shoots for him and less off the dribble. And I think that's what we're going to see with the ball in Halliburton's hands. Not 50-50, but a lot more than it was last year. And I also think, look, he's going to be able to attack from different angles. He's going to be more wide open, not just as a shooter, but, he'll have better space if you have a true playmaker next to him, a creator next to him. And so I think just naturally he will get better. because of that, because of the opportunity. Plus, I know he works on it nonstop. It's not like he's not in the gym trying to get better as a three-point shooter. And the other problem is he's really streaky, and that's where I come back to that whole thing where he has to do it consistently. It has to be every single game where he's this guy. He can't go 0 for 8 one night and 5 of 8 another night. That's just the inconsistency that really does hurt your ability to win games consistently.
James, we had to make some adjustments because of technology, but we appreciate you hanging with us. It's always one of the most popular conversations each week, so we thank you for making it work. And most of all, man, enjoy your vacation next week. We'll text you about Buddy Hield, of course, but we'll connect. We'll connect when you return. Nice and as tan as you could possibly get, and I have no idea what a James Ham tan would look like.
I don't either.
That's awesome, James. Thanks, buddy. Have a great vacation.
Take care, guys.
All right, James Ham. Again, apologies. Normally, James is on the video stream with us, but technical difficulties, man. I don't know what to say, but I'm glad James was able to hang with us. Really, I mean, he hung with us for the time we normally set aside for him. So
he has free minutes, minutes available.
Prime minutes, because it's not 5 o'clock yet. You got to be on
in
phase
5. If we're in phase 5, then we're good.
I would hope so. Like we talk every week. Like not on everybody's phase 5, but I would hope we would be on James' phase 5. And I got to commend you, partner. You did a hell of a job.
You know what I was doing.
You know what I was doing
up in here. Let's go. Let's go. That boy Lamar Wade Jr. out here doing what he do. Let's go.
My partner didn't even react. The Giants.
You know what I was doing. You know who was right here. You know who was right here.
The Giants score 4 runs in the 9th inning to walk off the Colorado Rockies. They didn't walk off. Did they? No, they were in Colorado. They had to play the bottom. Yeah, they had to play the bottom.
Into the bottom. They went into the top of the ninth. 4-3. Now, boy, they go out there. I think it was Buster Posey had a walk. Who else got a hit? I think it was Estrada got a hit. Yep. Brandon Belt got a walk. Or no, he got an infield hit. And then Lamont Wade Jr. with the bases loaded came through. 2 strikes on that at bat, too. 2 strikes and came through with the 2-run RBI single. And then Longoria, after it looked like the Giants were going to waste that opportunity, they got 2 outs there. Runners on second and third. Longoria with the big 2 RBI double. Giants win 7-4. The Giants win.
I'm proud of you. I was watching this unfold, and I'm looking up at my partner, and I can see he's watching. No reaction, and I'm like, wait, is he watching? Like he can't not know what's going on.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised you, James, hang on, James, wait a second.
We had a guest
to tell y'all something.
If it was just me and you, maybe I would have done that.
Oh, if it was just me. If we was just me and you would have lost your mind. All we would have heard were air horns. If you just turn to 13:20, all you hear is air horns.
Hey man, that's the Giants are doing it. I'm not doing it. The Giants are doing it. 90 and 50, Damian. They are 40 games over 500.
That's big.
This is crazy. This is crazy. If I was a Dodger fan, I'd be so hot. I'd be throwing something. You know how I used to call the Mets useless when they kept getting swept by the Dodgers? Yes. Oh, the 4-letter words I would have for the Rockies if I was a Dodger fan. Well,
the Dodgers get underway shortly, and Giants fan, you can root for the Cardinals, and everybody can make sure that you're back with us this Saturday as Sac State hosts Northern Iowa at Hornet Stadium. Coverage starts at 5:30 p.m., kickoff at 6 o'clock on the home for Sacramento State football, ESPN 1320. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm Damian Barling. He's Kenny Caraway. You're on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button. If you're on the Odyssey app, hit the heart button. If you're on Twitch, hit the follow button. And if you're on 1320 a.m., set us as your preset and make sure that you are back here tomorrow at noon on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Holla.
So drop James in the folder for me, and I'll make a graphic and put it on YouTube. And we'll use that as our James Ham video this week. We actually can't do a post show because everybody at the station, except for me, has to have a meaning. So if I ain't here tomorrow, you know what the meeting was about. You know?
You better be here tomorrow.
I know, because you ain't here tomorrow. We'll address all that stuff tomorrow. It's actually a game day meeting. Game day with Kenny Caraway. They've got to talk over some logistics for the big debut this weekend. So no City Center Financial post show today, but everybody who hung with us, stay with us. Everybody who listened to the James Ham, to the folks watching on Twitter. What up, baby? We appreciate y'all. We love y'all on Twitch, man. Our Twitch number. The thing with Twitch is we can't. The growth for Twitch is more difficult because with YouTube, there's like an algorithm where they serve up our videos to sports fans, right? Like we get served up, and it's similar to Twitter. It's similar to all other forms of social media. With Twitch, it's not quite the same. Like our views are our views, and there's not a lot of growth after the show is over. So they do really well for 3 hours or 4 hours, but there's not a ton of growth after the show. If you see us when we sign off today, you'll see that number can sometimes double. It usually goes up by 200, 300, sometimes 400 following the show. That's why those likes are so important. That's why hitting the thumbs up are so important. That's why we always push that stuff, is so people can find us well after the show is over.
It does for us.
What it does for us.
I don't know. I just know it does for us.
It does for
People
us.
be watching after 12 to 4. They be watching.
Yeah, they be tuned in. A lot of people tune in the morning. I don't know why that is. Probably. I don't know, man. I get it. We love y'all. We got you 10 times out of 10, man. We got you. Have a great rest of your day. Again, thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for sticking with those difficulties and all that good stuff. And we'll see y'all tomorrow at noon.
Holla.